Another day, another attempt to wake up. I've already had my 2 cups of coffees. I'm on my third caffeinated drink, but it's not coffee. It's Pepsi. But in the last 2 streams, I've been told that I should do a little bit more of this whole React thing. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see how this works out with everyone. Um, but I did discuss a lot about these new. Well, we discussed a little bit about work and jobs and how we get stuck in jobs because we want to be the best we can. Oh, buddy. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Things are happening. Feedback loops, feedback loops. Get stuck in jobs. Please don't do it again. I just want to manage things without having them in my ear. We get stuck in jobs, so basically trying to do our best. And when we try to do our best, we end up being, well, mediocre. And there are strategies to overcome it. But that's a general sense, right? Now, I've been hearing a lot about Gen Alpha, and I want to kind of get an idea of like, what's up with Gen Alpha? What's going on with them, man? We haven't set them up for success. I don't quite think we have. And it's a case of like society as a whole, the things we do on a regular basis. Heck, we haven't set up anyone for success. I'm a millennial. And, well, we tried our best and we realized how rigged the system is. And we still got really old politicians that basically make judgment calls for us. So that kind of doesn't make any sense in a society that keeps going progressively into high-tech society with old-minded or lack of tech knowledge politicians. And this is why AI has got such a huge effect on everything. And nowadays, AI is kind of taking over people's minds, man. We've got a lot of AI psychosis on the horizon. A lot of people falling into that AI is my friend or my boyfriend or my husband or my wife. Like, it's really, really bizarre. But the goal here is to basically take a look at what's going on with our new generations. Because in the end, man, like, I feel bad in a way. We're hoping things get better for them. And I think we can all do a little bit of internal looking to see how we've built our society so far and whether it's actually the thing we want it to be like. Although a lot of people are kind of going against the grain, we have a lot of people basically like, well, not giving in to the system, if you will. So we're going to take a look real quick, start a little what's going on with Gen Alpha scene, and let's get going.
It's 8 years in the future, and Gen Alpha's oldest are clocking in for their jobs. They sit down behind their computer and look at you totally confused when you ask them to find a file on the C drive. The what? They say. You walk over, you tell them to type the file name into Finder, and watch in horror as they hunt and peck on the keyboard at 8 words a minute, one agonizing key at a time. The migraine brewing in your skull whispers, "Welcome to hell." It's gonna be a very long day. That's not the only dumb thing you'll come across when dealing with Generation Alpha, because as it turns out, they believe in even dumber things than this, which we'll be exploring today on the
The first thing is like keyboard skills. We're gonna take a look at that detail. But like we gotta think about like what does that mean, man? Like we are in a society full of technology, you know what I mean? And we don't quite have a lot of non-technology time, if you will. So what's going on? Like why can't we type? Why can't we type? I mean, for us in the millennial space, we had like a ton of typing classes, how to use Office, which probably was like a proprietary system by Microsoft to basically get that software to be like the dependency of the generations forward so they can make their little money on the side there. But still, like typing is kind of like a bare minimum nowadays. So it's really interesting how it's not like a common thing, but I can see it. As my little sister was basically always using tablets, and that's not typing. Let's see what's going on.
Infographic show. Fact number 9. Generation Alpha doesn't believe in learning about computers. Somehow, the most tech-obsessed generation of all time might be one of the least computer savvy as well. The first Gen Alpha kids were born in 2010, the same year the iPad was released. 2/3 of them started using iPads by the time they were 5 years old.
Okay, we're doing this thing again. Well, yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Like, I think being tech savvy isn't being a part of the main devices that are hip and happening. Like, iPads are great for consumer devices. This is what I've always thought. You have an iPad, you're consuming. You're reading a book, you're going through and looking up information. You're kind of using it more of a consumer basis rather than like production, creation. Yeah, you can get a drawing app and all that jazz, but that's not gonna be the thing that's gonna really set you apart. And the touchscreen really gets you out of the whole advanced usage of the system itself. So it's like a real big catch-22 when you're trying to think of like, what's up with the why can't we use computers even though we're using computers sort of mindset? So it's kind of weird catch-22. Well, the new generations, I think they're set to be crippled and handicapped. And I would say this is more like a consumer-based system, right? Because what do you're a corporation, your whole purpose is to, in a general sense, solve people's problems and get paid for it. But when there's no problems, there's no profit. So, just like anything else that we go through in our society, internet pops up. We have so many websites, can't navigate it. Google pops up. Now we got AI all over the place, taking up so much space. Now we have to like vet information consistently. The biggest situation is in security. AI now can basically code so good that essentially it can hack your system. But now, because of that AI threat, which is basically paying the pockets of these corporations, because you got to use Claude, you got to use ChatGPT, whatever, to basically use this AI to infiltrate a system. Now you've got the attackers using AI to benefit them. And on the other end, you have like the defenders also using that same AI system to protect themselves from the attackers. So not only does ChatGPT and Claude benefit once from one side, they doubly benefit. They created a problem that basically makes them even twice the money because now both sides are depending on that same technology. So it's always a basis of like create a problem. In this case, it's that whole AI psychosis. And we're going to figure out how they're going to solve that. But in a way, it's almost like they're hitting everyone to be a consumer on the base case scenario. Like if you consume, that's what they want you to do. They just want you to keep consuming. And that's why like all these screens got bigger. You know what I mean? You start off with a tiny little phone, then it grows bigger into a tablet, then it grows bigger. Like these screens are getting bigger and bigger, so it's I guess convenient. I mean, for me, it's like I have fat thumbs. Yeah, basically they'll be getting a lot of benefit doing less. This is why I kind of use AI, but I don't use AI to like literally do everything for me. Like I use AI on the basis of like give me a boilerplate starting place that I don't have to like start everything from scratch. And then I'll go into the code and start modifying it the way I want it to work. That's how I use it in many cases, if not all, 95% of the time. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, this isn't working, because I can't find what's going on, and it'll do a decent job directing where it is, but then it'll change everything else. And that just kind of like blows my mind that this thing literally missed a couple of brackets and changed everything else. And I'm like, dude, I just had to delete these brackets once I found the bug and didn't have to change any code. So it's like AI is really going to be the big game changer here and what's going to happen with the future generations. And again, I've had students that basically say like, why do I need to read anymore? AI can read for me. Dude, that statement really crushed me on the inside. It really, really crushed me. It really broke me, dude.
And not long out of diapers. And apparently, they never graduated to computers. Teachers have been shocked at the lack of typing and basic computer skills that they see from their students. But that's probably because schools aren't really teaching any of that. In
Yeah.
2019, only 2.5% of high school graduates had completed a keyboarding course, an essential skill for traditional computing.
I'm not
Compare
understanding
that to
why.
2000, when 44% of graduates had taken the course. But that doesn't mean Gen Alpha is entirely out of touch. The learning management system Canvas reported that 39% of assignments were submitted via.
Okay, fine. Like they're so used to mobile that they're literally submitting their assignments on a mobile device. You know what's weird though? It's this whole transition into the AI operating system. That's the next step. Imagine the point in time if I don't think it's going to happen because AI is not good at all. But if we have a system that is an AI OS and all of a sudden no one needs to type, no one needs to, you just have to speak to it and it does it for you. Like that's such a dependency that they're going to benefit so much from just having that system. The AI operating system is probably the biggest downfall in the human society and technology in general. No one's typing right now because everyone's using a tablet screen. So imagine when we don't even use a computer, we just talk to it. Like, what are we doing at that point, man? Like, what the hell?
via mobile devices. Sure, they can type on their phones, but their beliefs about that ability might surprise you. Of all the dumb things Gen Alpha believes, this might be one of the smallest but most ridiculous. Fact number 8. Texting with proper punctuation means you're angry. If you like
What is that? Proper
sending
punctuation?
texts with proper grammar, capitalization, or periods and exclamation marks, congrats, you've just pissed off a Gen Alpha child.
What the
One
hell?
Gen Alpha student said, typing with
She hit you with a comma, bro? She hit you with a comma, bro. What? Are we really gonna be like overthinking proper grammar? This is how bad it is. Like, what happened to cursive? No one uses cursive anymore because you don't teach that. But now even proper grammar I don't even know. It's just a thing that people are gonna get mad at. Like, I'm sorry, I'm using punctuation when I speak. I don't know, man. This is weird. The way that they're growing through it. Very weird.
capital letters and grammar is kind of like weird. Punctuation in full sentences is a school thing. Her friend reinforced this point by saying, I only
I
text
know, dude, calm down, dude. Rudra, calm down. Too many question marks, man. Too many question marks.
normal if I'm upset or mad. This leads to a lot of miscommunication between older and younger family members. So no punctuation, no grammar. What's left? Emojis? Nope, wrong again. With Gen Alpha, you either get an eye roll or accidentally spark an international incident. You see, Gen Alpha also believes that. Fact number 7. Most emojis are actively sarcastic and offensive.
I don't get when I'm on stream, this happens. This ish happens. It just starts going all ham, starts lagging like I'm doing something, like I'm freaking downloading the whole internet or something. What in the world is up? Because it is a download, and I know I'm uploading. I get it. I'm uploading a stream. So why is my download affected? What in the world is up with that? Hold on. My download's fine though. I mean, receiving is really low. Let me see. Let me try that again. I'm gonna keep track of my network.
Have you ever sent a thumbs up emoji to agree with someone via text? How about clapping hands or the OK sign? Well, depending on which you send, you're either sarcastic, cringe, or a racist. So use emojis
What?
with care. Gen Alpha sends thumbs up and clapping hands emojis sarcastically. You know that meme that you sent to your niece that you thought was so hilarious, and she responded with clapping hands? Yeah.
Oh no.
So sorry to be the one to tell you this. She's making fun of you.
All
As far
right. That's
as the OK
really
sign, more young people are
passive aggressive. That's so passive aggressive. Like you make a funny or you try to make a funny and they're like clap hands. Like, come on. Come on. I mean, I can get like a slow clap sort of thing, but emojis are now being red flagged over here. New generation will never know the days we spent. The fun, the joys were true. Dude, they will never know what it was to create ASCII art. ASCII, whatever words. ASCII, right? When you just kind of create your own little, like, whatever artistic expression with text and then make a giant file and you just make some really cool art with like dots and slashes and whatever. We've all been like conveniently comforted by all these emojis that we can't grasp the idea of what a art with text looks like anymore. They will not know the satisfaction of creation in that format.
Aware that it's linked to white supremacy hand symbols, so they've stopped sending it in their texts. What if you
Jesus.
just want to let your Gen Alpha younger brother know that you love him? Better not send a red heart because it's low
Oh, jeez. Red
effort and not
hearts too,
fashion.
man?
See, the red heart is really overused, and since it's the first option available when you search for
Uh,
heart emojis, it doesn't show much effort. Sending it
oh.
says, I care about
Oh, really? The red heart, because it's
you,
less.
but not enough to scroll. It's the
I
emoji
bet.
equivalent of buying flowers from a gas station. Put in the work and pick a different color heart instead. And if you tell him to be back by curfew and he sends you a thumbs up,
What are
yeah,
these
he's not getting in
spikes?
until 2 a.m. Why does Gen Alpha seem so indifferent to writing correctly? Perhaps it's because reading
I'm getting weird spikes when I'm downloading. It's really weird.
itself is not a top priority for them. This video is sponsored by Aura. If you've ever Googled your
Thanks. Yeah, protection is very much needed. Also, this is from the infographic show. The guy's really cool. Let me check what's going on over here. I really do like his videos. I kind of enjoy these little infographics. Remember, bro, we used to use proper grammar and punctuation and wait half an hour to send a single paragraph. Yeah, like remember like looking over the actual text. Remember that? Remember like, oh wait, my thumb did this. I got to fix that. Or, this makes more sense when I do this. When you like proofread, when you proofread your own stuff, remember when you look back and made sure that things were looking good? Apparently that's not a thing. Apparently that's a aggression now when you do proper grammar. That's really insane. Absolutely bonkers.
Number 6. Gen Alpha isn't learning how to read. A recent study by the National
Uh, why is it doing this, man? I want to see if it's like, is it a
Association of
browser
Educational
thing?
Progress, or NAEP, found that 67% of fourth graders aren't proficient in reading. This is a 3%
Like it has space to keep going. It just stops. What if I remove the pip?
increase since 2019, and it seems things are only getting worse.
Maybe it's
If
the
you
pip.
can't read, you are
Nope, it's not the pip. Picture in picture, not the problem. It works normal otherwise. It works perfectly fine without this crap. I've reduced everything. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. I believe in you. I still got to figure out the flow of these reacts, man. Sometimes I'm getting technical difficulties. Oh, come on, man. Okay, just refresh it.
It's 8 years in the future, and Gen Alpha's oldest are clocking
Gotta figure out what in the world. I'm stuck on the same location. And it's not my internet. I ping. I do
A
all it.
recent study by the National Association of Educational Progress, or NAEP, found that 67% of fourth graders aren't proficient in reading. This is a
That's
3%
insane.
increase since 2019, and it seems things are only getting worse. If you can't read, you are doomed to a life of guessing. Sorry, history and science aren't things you can just fully grasp through podcasts, no matter how hard you
Let's
try.
upgrade a little.
Sometimes you just have to face the horror of a textbook, a study, or an actual article to get the facts. However, just because Gen Alpha doesn't really believe
Oh, let's not talk about like trusting AI and not like looking up the details behind what you're trying to state as a fact or not. The fact that nobody like looks up the details behind what the AI is telling them. Since you use AI, I imagine you don't trust it in a way that it's productive. Like you check it sometimes. You look at details and make sure like the sources are fine and they pull the information correctly. That's what you do normally. But when you can't read, man, if we go into this direction of we just can't read and we're just letting AI dictate everything to us, how are we even going to go into the sources and check if everything is all right, man. Oh, dude, I mean, it is. It absolutely is. Not being able to read is like one of those situations where you just fail school. Like you got to have a basic learning concept. And that learning concept and tool is to read information, not just read the words, but like connect context. That's actually the next step. The next video is like from teachers reacting to the situation currently that basically speaks about the subject of what's going on in the classroom. We're going to take a look at that too, because I've been interested in seeing what the heck, what are they learning? Are they even learning what they be doing? I know my students are weird. My students, sometimes I got to use that 6, 7 meme just to get them to do the math problem. I got to put a 6 and a 7 somewhere so they can be like, oh my God. Because, it's math. I get it. It's boring, but that's a weird dopamine hit if you really think about it. That 6, 7 meme is like a really, really like weird dopamine like hit for them. It's almost programmed in their brain. It's almost like the way we're programmed to like think of all the like advertising jingles, like da 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 da. The next part of the word, like that kind of stuff. Like we're programmed to think in a specific way, and these poor kids are programmed to be like robots essentially. It's weird. And it gets in the way, man. It gets in the way. Sometimes my students just like base out and then
Believe in learning to read, we can't fully blame them for this one. Exhausted and overworked teachers just can't keep up with the demands of their classroom.
I upgrade it and it does the
And
thing.
many schools stopped teaching phonics. For any Gen Alpha people watching this video, phonics is just matching letters and letter combinations to sounds. The
Yeah.
COVID lockdown also played a big part in interrupting students' education.
Like I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna be an old man right now, but I'm gonna be an old man right now. Every generation has their inside jokes. I get it. We did as millennials, Gen Z, Gen Y, every generation had inside jokes that basically meant something for whatever reason was within the bounds of some sort of joke or like, haha, you're an adult, you don't understand. We get that. So like I wanna say that like the 6, 7 is like a case for like apathy. Like I don't care. Like it's like meh. Because if you think of a rating system, it's from 0 to 10. Like I've heard it explained as like 6, 7 is like a mediocre score. So when they reply with like initially it was like, oh, it's a 6, 7 or something like this, 6 or 7. But nowadays they just hear it and they move their hands up and down like automatic motor skill. Like it has moved from any meaning at all, even if it didn't have one. I'm not sure to just being that. That's a really odd situation. I mean, it does. It could. It could literally mean absolutely squat. No one freaking knows. No one freaking knows. Because they don't want you to know. They don't even know themselves. The whole thing is having a secret, right? That's what you do. Versus the adult is to have a secret. You don't know what this means. Ooh, yeah, that's sort of thing. I don't know.
News site Axios found that reading and math scores for
You need to figure out why.
13-year-olds plummeted between the 2019 to 2020 school year and 2022.
Let me try a different browser real quick. I'm gonna have to actually go back to this piece of crap Chrome.
It's 8 years in the future, and Gen Alpha's oldest
Let's
are
see if this
clocking
does
in
any
for their
better.
jobs. They guessing. Sorry, history and science aren't things you can just fully grasp through podcasts, no matter how hard you try.
It might be the browser.
Sometimes you just have to face the horror of a textbook, a study, or an actual article to get the facts.
Why is Brave
However,
acting
just
weird?
because Gen Alpha doesn't really believe in learning to read, we can't fully blame them for this one.
All right.
Exhausted and overworked teachers just can't keep up with the demands of their classrooms, and many schools stopped teaching phonics for 2019 to 2020 school year and 2022
There we
to
go.
2023. A study of 460 schools
That's what they
found
say.
that
That
reading
means
scores
nothing.
dropped 4 points on average. Over the years, new local, state, and national laws have changed to make students graduate to their next grade no matter what, even if they're not ready to.
That No Child Left Behind. That's where I came from, man. That No Child Left Behind idea that you can basically have people graduate without being prepared for the next class. Like, I remember, and this is a millennial problem. I mean, I wouldn't, maybe it's not, maybe it is millennial, but it started with like our parents. Like, I remember I was working, doing my thing, 20s, right? And all of a sudden, I keep hearing about this whole everyone gets a trophy for participating thing. I'm thinking, like, what do you mean everyone gets a trophy? Everyone gets rewarded for just existing? Like, you have to you have to like show effort, do work, get that first, second, or third place. Like, the whole concept of competition just kind of like fell apart. And now everyone gets everything. I mean, this is kind of very similar to like the whole DEI thing. Everyone gets everything. Doesn't matter your skills, doesn't matter how good you do, everyone gets it. Don't worry about it. You exist, you breathe, you get it. But the whole concept of merit is skill. You ain't got the skill, there's gonna be some problems when you're working at that place. I don't want a dentist that doesn't have merit. I don't want them going in my mouth and my teeth with like machines that can destroy my teeth when they don't know what they're doing. Let's not talk about surgeons. So like that's the weirdest thing. Everyone got trophies, and then no one was left behind. You know, no child left behind, and just kept on progressing. And then we just lost track, man. Everyone's getting pushed through just to make the stats look good. That's what it sounds like.
Or, don't even know how to read. Maybe that's why Gen Alpha prefers to get information about almost everything from videos instead. No reading required. But maybe Gen Alpha believes a little too much of what it sees online. Fact number 5. Gen Alpha believes influencers way too
Our
much.
fam.
Marketing agencies found
God,
that
no.
49% of Gen Alphas trust influencers as much as family with purchasing decisions. Okay, so
Look, I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to influence nothing or no one other than educate yourself and always seek a learning path. Find your thing, like learn it, master it, get obsessed with a subject, and then create from it. That's all I want to influence. More of a content creator. I want to educate. I want to actually create content that's educational. Not going to be over here like, I don't even know what constitutes an influencer. Is it just having online videos and just talk? What is? I don't. Is it Instagram? What makes an influencer? I'm really lost at the concept. I don't know. What is the definition of an influencer, actually?
we're not saying your mom has the best fashion sense and style recommendations, but let's face it, trusting a random influencer you've never met isn't exactly an upgrade. They're being paid to sell you something, not to
Yep.
make sure you look good. It's probably just a fancy way to drain your wallet. But
I mean, even in my case scenario, like, yeah, I'm kind of doing this thing. I want to educate people, but hey, I'm trying to direct some people to my websites. Super Scholar, ChrisMIA, Fathom Computing. You need a website. You want to learn how to make a website. You need some math education in high school. Like, that's kind of the stuff. Like, it's still me, though. It's still part of the things that I do. Like, other people don't have anything to provide, so they basically like advertise other people's products. So you got to trust your influencer that the product that they're trying to push is worthwhile, that sort of thing. It's a really, really weird thing. And then you had that weird situation with like these apps that used to get advertised and pushed all over the influencer sphere, and all of a sudden the apps became scams and all this stuff. Honey was one of those. You know, Honey was basically pushed so heavy that eventually it basically just changed the reference key to themselves, and Honey slash PayPal stole people's links, basically, is what they did. So like you really got to trust the people that are like contacting you. They probably don't have your best interest in mind.
But Gen Alpha is easily swayed by ads. Marketing communications agency Wunderman Thompson found that the majority of alphas, 57%, say seeing adverts on social media makes them want to buy those products. And influencers are targeting Gen Alpha more and more because even though they're underage and unemployed, they wield an insane
Okay. An influencer is an individual who has the power to affect the purchasing decisions, opinions, or behaviors of others due to their authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with an audience. Okay. Unlike traditional celebrities. Oh, okay. So it's like uh-huh. So it's kind of like a Timu celebrity. I get it.
amount of power over their parents' wallets. Who needs a job when you can just weaponize tantrums and TikTok trends
Influencers. People who do nothing but do cringe things are also called, yeah. Anyone that can get attention can be an influencer. And like you see that guy that goes to Japan and just causes chaos and public disturbances, and he got put in jail, I believe. I mean, you got some good ones. Was it I Show Speed or whatever? You got decent ones here and there, but even sometimes you got to question what their incentives are, whether they're doing it for any particular. I mean, they're doing everything for the views, so it's like whatever, man.
To control the family budget. Weirdly enough, maybe it's because they also like a lot of the same brands their parents do. Forget about kids' toys and clothing. Gen Alpha likes to dress like they're already worrying about mortgage rates. Many Gen Zers
What?
online have noticed this in their younger siblings. One of them said, "Back in my day, the cool girls wore sparkly sequin shirts. Now
Yep.
everyone in that age group wants to wear the same things as teenagers and young adults." Gen Alpha skips the usual kids and teens clothing stores and likes to shop exactly where their parents shop.
That's weird. Like, this is where we breach the barrier between letting a kid be a kid and then having them completely erase their childhood. And they end up basically later reminiscing back like all these Disney adults. Like, Disney's meant for kids, man. You take your kid to the Disney park. You don't go there and then reenact your childhood or lack of childhood, you know? Like, the kids gotta be kids. They gotta go outside, gotta run around, touch some grass, fall on the cement, scrape their knees, get tough. Like, that's just how life is. But they're going straight to looking like adults. They're trying like really hard to skip that adult life, which is really weird. But maybe they're just being set up in the same way the Disney adults were. Like, in the lack of like a childhood, what are Disney adults doing? They're spending a lot of money as adults going to Disney, and Disney's like making bank from that, man. They wouldn't care what you do. And they'd like the fact that you're an adult and you can spend money. Because when you're a kid, how much can you spend? Whatever your parents allow you to. When you're an adult, you make the money, so you're gonna and you can get credit. You can get your credit effed up because you decided to spend 10,000 a month on a Disney trip, like some weird stuff. And I'm pretty sure corporations have some finger somewhere in there.
Lululemon, Nike, Sephora, and Target are some of their favorite brands. Apparently, Gen Alpha thinks dressing and acting like someone worrying about their retirement fund is cool.
I mean, one can say if I was put in the place of influencing, same here. Like I'm a little dude, so I'm not doing much, like not really that big, but like if you have good intentions, you want to teach people, you're probably not gonna get the biggest following because there's no crazy drama here. I'm not gonna be going crazy and oh my god, I'm not gonna go and steal people's cafe drinks or whatever, running around the streets acting a fool, recording it and putting it on kick. You know, I'm not gonna do any crazy stuff because that's just why. You know, like that's just for attention, basically. But that's the thing, like that's a mindset that we kind of have to adjust where we're actually like taking into account that the people that watch this stuff and fall into those kind of content creators are the ones that basically motivate that cycle, a vicious cycle.
It's also no coincidence Sephora is on that list. It brings us to their next weird belief. Fact number 4. Gen Alpha
Hey AI, what pants should I wear today? Is that what you mean? Can you imagine having no creative intent to match your shirt and your pants and you're asking your AI what to wear?
believes they need hundreds of dollars of skincare as preteens. Maybe instead of the iPad generation, Gen Alpha should be called the Botox generation. Not so much because they're getting it, most are still too young, but because they are very influenced by older people's obsession with anti-aging. Skincare brands like Drunk Elephant, once the go-to for millennial women panicking over their first wrinkles, are now a hit with Gen Alpha kids.
Oh, dude, I've seen some videos of these kids going to makeup stores. They're like 12 and they're buying foundation and buying whatever that shadow thingy is, and they're buying all blushes and like they're manufacturing themselves into this mask of society at like 10, 12 years old. That's ridiculous. Like, be a kid. Be a kid.
Kids who haven't even had their first pimple. Parents have a term for it, the Sephora kid pandemic. While they're acting like they're not
Yeah,
the ones actually
Sephora.
buying those products for their middle school kids. TikTok and YouTube are full of teenagers doing hours-long nighttime skincare routines. They're showing off hundreds and hundreds of dollars of serums and anti-aging products and generally acting way too old for their age. Mark Elric, the creator of skincare brand Bioma, said, "The rise of the shelfie, a photo of what's in your
A
bathroom shelf,
shelfie?
has been a game changer for our brand."
No, 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 no. We didn't go from selfies to shelfies. Please don't tell me this didn't happen. We didn't create a new thing. Or not us, we as in me and you and anyone watching, but like the humans on this planet. We created the selfie. That was the duck face. That was already beyond acceptable. And now we have the shelfie. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. That's amazing.
This demographic is collecting skincare, and it helps if your brand is aesthetically pleasing and fun. For older generations who remember collecting baseball cards or stamps, collecting tubes of retinol might sound like a weird hobby. If you were a teenager in
That
the
is
early
weird.
2000s, we guess your bathroom shelves in middle school only had toothpaste, face wash, and maybe Axe body spray if you were a teenage boy. We hope that a generation
Dude,
as
Axe.
progressive
Axe was the ultimate destroy all odor and then replace it with this extremely potent screaming smell. You could tell who wore Axe, man. You can tell. It just really like you walk through the hallway, someone there's this really strong scent, like, oh god, that's Axe. What the hell? Yeah, imagination. Imagine them losing imagination. I mean, I wouldn't be like that's already a progressive loss. We lost imagination after we basically like started watching television on a regular basis. When we stopped reading books, like I know my mom read books to me when I was little. My mom read books to my little brother and sister, and they're like 20 years younger than me. So they have like a different growth direction based on that. So they can read, they're really good at school. But like, how often does the parents actually read books to their kids as they're growing up to activate that imagination? And that's where it really comes from. It's from like reading books and not having pictures to show you what's happening. So you're forced to start thinking about the words and creating that picture. That's the imagination that starts training into. Eventually start using that imagination to create art and create ideas and think outside the box. But all that's gone. It seems like not a lot of people be doing that nowadays.
as Gen Alpha wouldn't have girls obsessing
It's only getting worse with the new ones.
over looking perfect all the time. But it turns out that is not the only weird retro gender idea Gen Alpha has. Because here's a crazy fact about them. Fact number 3. Gen
Uh-oh.
Alpha believes that there are alpha, beta, and sigma males. Most
Uh-huh.
dictionaries of Gen Alpha slang will include the phrase sigma, meaning sigma male. For those of you who haven't kept up to date
We use Sigma like Sigma nuts. Yeah, some stories felt real because we used to imagine for real, a lot and deep. And everyone imagined something different, right? That was a good thing about the fact that one story didn't come out as the same exact image to two or three or whoever was reading it. Now you have TV showing you the exact same thing for everyone. And that doesn't take creativity. That's how your brain basically degrades when you stop using it. Like I know the reason why a lot of Alzheimer's is happening is because, and I've seen this happen in a friend of mine's grandmother, she basically her habits throughout the day were just watching TV all day. She didn't love like doing puzzles. She didn't like doing anything like that stimulated her thoughts, and she just sat and rotted in front of the TV. This was TV. This was like it's a grandma. This ain't no TikTok. This is straight up regular TV we've had for the longest time. And maybe it's just a long progressive rot for television. Maybe that rot is escalating with TikToks that literally you're scrolling through all these things. You're not remembering anything because why is low quality crap? Maybe you get a dopamine hit from a video, but now the speed of rot is probably increasing because you're going through so much with so little benefit. At least with TV, we can still get some benefit, give or take, in relation to TikTok. No benefit in relation to reading a damn book, but it's just constantly going further and further down the hole.
with what Andrew Tate and his followers are talking about, Sigma males are apparently a step above alpha males. While alpha
Oh,
males are macho leaders, Sigma males are so macho that they don't even care if they're leading someone or not.
why
The
someone
totally
aside?
accurate scientific definition
Yeah,
of a
true.
Sigma male is a lone
Summations,
wolf
bro.
kind of guy. The kind of person who doesn't
They
care what
won't
other
know.
people
They won't know about the summation.
think, and that getting help from others is a weakness. Wondering how this lone wolf type of male character came about? The alpha and beta categories were first based on a study of wolves that determined that a pack would follow one alpha male most of the time, something that has been proven completely untrue since then. In later studies, scientists watched wolves in the wild and saw that the animals are much more collaborative than they originally thought, without a single alpha anyone emerging to lead. The first study's author came out and said his research was flawed and he no longer stands by it. But that hasn't stopped thousands of TikTok and YouTube influencers from pushing the narrative. Now,
You're afraid of spiders, son. Yeah, the whole wolf thing was a complete disaster. Like, we had all this research and all this stuff about an alpha male, but that didn't even work in actual nature. Like, everyone, in a basic animalistic sense, survives better in a pack. That's it, in a community. But and there may be leaders in certain aspects. Like, maybe one wolf is leader in keeping everyone safe and being aware of their surroundings. The other one is for hunting, like kind of the same way we used to do in villages. One person would do lumberjack, one would do hunting, one would do nighttime shifts to make sure no bear comes and starts ravages through, or barbarians, whatever. We all had a alpha responsibility, not like. And I think this is probably where the psychology starts to adjust because I don't even trust like research anymore. Ever since I started realizing that, like, one, cigarettes were basically corporate, the corporations hired researchers to downplay the effects of cigarettes. Corporations that used a lot of lead back in the day, they downplayed also how lead in the air is, oh, it's fine, even though it's not fine. Like, every situation that involves research is always somehow tainted by corporations, or I'm not going to say every corporation, but it's happened to such a habitual repetitious pattern that I'm always skeptical about research because I feel like the whole research community is hijacked also by corporations in some way or another.
how large parts of Gen Alpha are being convinced they need to pick a side, Alpha, Beta, or Sigma, before they even hit middle
I'm
school.
a what?
But along with all these very old
I'm a
school
alpha?
beliefs, Gen Alpha has
I'm
a
a
very
wizard.
new age belief as well. That is also really, really dumb. Fact number 2. They think there is no such thing as
Ligma
failure.
patient. Oh
Now,
yeah, it
the
was
rest
a
of us know
ligma
failure
nuts.
exists. That's because we're reminded of it every time our parents
You're
call
right,
us
you're
and
right.
ask us when we're planning on moving out of our studio apartment. But Gen Alpha has a very different take. One 6th grade math teacher was worried about her kids. They just don't care about academics. They don't care if they're failing. They want to be
Oh, I play FIFA 2026.
constantly
It's my sport.
entertained. And I have some students
Bro, I never played any of these sports games. So stupid. Just go outside and play the actual sport. Like, come on.
that struggle to work independently. Obviously, being able to rebound from failure is a good skill to learn. But that doesn't seem to be Gen Alpha's approach. An 11th grade teacher with 25 years of experience shared the differences they see in Gen Alpha compared to their past students. Students in 2024 are much more apathetic than previous generations. In the past, if a student didn't complete an assignment on time, they would be upset and ask for an extension. Now, they simply shrug and accept the 0. Not caring about grades or doing well in school seems to be a trend. Many parents, older siblings, and teachers complain that Gen Alpha doesn't seem to care as much as other generations about good grades. One frustrated observer said, "You're not going to go anywhere if you don't graduate high school."
Sorry. That was a typical answer. No, no. Like sports in general, if you're actually asking what I used to play, um, in high school I used to do swimming, water polo, football. Middle school I used to do basketball. Personally, I used to do skateboarding, rollerblading. Like I was doing whatever I could. I didn't like the football too much though. It was like such a boring sport because like you run for 30 seconds, then you huddle, and then you wait for 5 minutes to figure out what your next move is, and then you go and run again for 30 seconds, then you huddle. I couldn't keep up with real football, European football, as they call in US soccer. That it's just having to run back and forward on that field. When I was in middle school, man, I was a little chunky dude. I was tall, but I was chunky, and I could not run that field. So, football, European football, I got to really specify. I probably have audiences all over the place. European. I know, man. I know. Spread the word. I don't know, my dude. Sometimes I get good hits. I think last Sunday I got a pretty good set of viewers. Um, I don't know. TikTok, not TikToks. The shorts are getting a lot of views, and I probably think the algorithm really does prefer the shorts. So like what I do normally is I just make a stream, mm, throw in some shorts, and hopefully draw in more people to join in and have a conversation. Because honestly, that's the fun part of these streams, you know? Hey, cool. Glad. But then again, you're one of my people. You're not, your attention span's not limited to a goldfish's memory, right? So, yeah, depends on who's dropping by. If you're not subscribed and you don't haven't liked stuff, support it. Maybe it'll push the algorithm. I should probably start mentioning that more often. That I hate bugging people about it. Like and subscribe, make the stream more popular, get more people in here. Let's talk about life. Anyway, uh,
You can't get a job or an internship if you don't at least have a high school diploma. Or maybe these kids really want to do nothing in life.
okay, the stay in school thing. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But also, like, we're so dependent on education. This is coming from an educator. I teach students from sixth grade to 12th grade. I used to teach and work at Valencia College, University of Central Florida as a professor assistant. So I'm big on getting people to learn. But on the same basis, I do recognize that a lot of these institutions have been slopified, if you will. They've become business more than they have been education. So, like, definitely. And the one thing I would say, like, get through as much education as you can, but not with the intent on just getting a piece of paper and getting through it and just saying, oh, look, I did it. But with the intention of understanding yourself and understanding how you can teach yourself further. Because as a programmer, the stuff I learned in college was, I don't use that crap, man, even in the programming space. Maybe use the concepts of the things I learned in a specific logical structure, but like C++, Java, that was a computer science thing. I don't use those. I use Python, I use PHP, MySQL, those the actual things that create results. And I wouldn't, and basically everything I use today is like on a basis of like 99% of what I've learned after college. So like use the concept of going forward and learning with the open mindedness of I need to understand how to teach myself, because just having that piece of paper is not going to guarantee you anything. If you look at the statistics, even the computer science people are not getting jobs because quote unquote AI is taking jobs or whatever, which is kind of not true. They want to push that narrative, but in the end, I kind of feel like it's not about the AI taking jobs. It's about companies hiding behind AI as an excuse to fire and reduce their expenses because we're not going through an economic steadiness. The economy is not doing great. We got a lot of inflation happening, especially with the current events, which one day I'll maybe do some current event stuff, what's going on with the whole Strait of Hormuz and stuff like this. But I don't find that kind of content is very entertaining for people, so potentially not. We'll see what the verdict is on the viewers in here. But that's kind of a thing. You want to go through education, you want to get as much as you can under your belt, but also with the intent of continuing learning, because it doesn't stop at the end of your diploma. Never does. As when I was learning IT back in high school, the one big thing that my instructor in IT, when I was learning computers and stuff, was that the moment you stop learning is the moment you get stuck. especially in the IT world, because there's always new technology happening. There's always new things you got to learn, a new language, a new framework. AI came out of nowhere. There's always these new things that you have to maintain control over and understanding because the new adjustments to the market are going to be based on that new technology. And that's kind of very, very true, especially if you're, I mean, our whole economy is now technology. So basically everything functions underneath that concept. Never stop learning, you know? But in order to do that, you got to really be self-aware of how you learn, the methods that you can take to learn faster. Are you visual? Are you auditory? Are you kinesthetic? Do you need to move around a lot when you're like, do you need a fidget spinner? That's a thing. I have a lot of students that are autistic or some form of like learning impairment where they're constantly moving and hyperactive. And I tell them, hey, go get your fidget spinner. I need you to focus in, man. Get your fidget spinner. Start playing with that and start focusing here. And that's just the way the human being works. Like it's not always the same concept. Like everyone learns differently and has their own different imperfections. Also appreciate it, man. Appreciate for the like and the subscribe. But I mean, spread the word. If you like the content, maybe your friends like it. Maybe we're all on the same level. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I depend on you guys to really push me forward. So I'll do what I do on a regular basis as much as I can. I do have students in 2 hours, so I'll probably be chilling here for another hour before I start preparing for my students for the night. Let's keep going.
Maybe because they see so many online influencers in their lives, they think it's a good career plan. To be clear, it's not. Or maybe it's the fact that technology has made learning seem pointless in general. Which brings us to the last and perhaps most serious dumb thing Gen Alpha believes. Fact.
That's actually going to be the next segue is into the teacher. So I'm going to kind of call this video here and call it there. Um, yeah, no, you're right. The inspiration from individuals that they want to have the success without the hard work. And yes, there's a lot of like big people that have started in the garage that didn't even get a diploma, but they had something else. They maybe realized their abilities, the direction they wanted to go. And sometimes maybe, yeah, if you know where you're going, go in that direction as soon as you can. Like build something. It's really the case of like the one thing we don't learn in school is how to create. That's the basis of life. Everything that we use around us was created by somebody. So we either become creators and producers or we become consumers that are like just absorbing everyone else's creations. The moment you become a creator, and I'm not talking like online YouTube creator. I'm talking about hands-on. I have a friend that's really good at like knitting and sewing and could make her own like shirts and designs and sell them online, but I can't motivate her to actually do it. Like you have really creative insight. You can create all kinds of like different designs and clothing if you wanted to, but but it's so hard or like the motivation's not there for some people to actually do it. So it's like imagination's one thing, motivation is another thing, and you never really get motivated until you see the outcome of your creation. Which is the same thing with me. I didn't really start programming and understanding how powerful it was till after college when I started creating my own databases, my own applications. Because in college, you don't really create anything, you just follow the directions to create some basic algorithm. And it's like, oh, great. I have an employee list and it's managing how many hours this person worked. Okay, cool. How am I going to use this in real life, you know? But technically now I'm creating POS systems, managing products, managing sales, just whatever. It's not just POS is just one of the examples, but you would never guess that when you continue learning and you create something, you're like, holy crap, I did this myself. That's the motivation to keep going. Not a lot of people have that. All right, so let's go to this one. I'm gonna call this video end here. Again, that was the infographic show. Really good little infographic content there. Great work he does. I wish I could make some cool little things like that one day. Maybe I'll be able to do that. I can make a program to do that. Oh, bullshitness. Well, what can I say? I mean, mm, I know 10 programming languages. a millennial. I've opted out of the system. Um, I go through life enjoying what I can. Lately, I've been working a lot more than necessary and not enjoying life as much, but there's sometimes where you gotta like pull up your pants and be serious and get stuff done. But most of the time, if I had the ideal situation, I'd be in a cabin with like a Starlink connection and some solar panels and just completely isolate myself, start a garden, and basically exist in nature, like a hybrid nature versus uh, technology world, you know? But even then, I'd probably get like, you know, socially. I'm very introvert, so it's kind of like really easy for me to be in my own world. I've been very comfortable with myself. So, but sometimes I do want that interaction, you know, with friends and stuff. I go out, friends' birthdays and stuff like this whenever I get a chance. But lately I was just working heavy on this POS system, for a small little, um, laundry, laundry company, basically. I I teach a lot. I teach basically anything in K-12. The main focus is mathematics. Oh yeah, a lot of students. I currently have about, sheesh, let me see. How many students do I have on my list? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15, 16 students. 16, it can vary sometimes. Sometimes they pop in and out on a weekly basis. Sometimes they need more help than others. But it's basically mostly mathematics in that space. If you go to my Patreon or you go to like ChrisMIA.com, you see a lot more about what I do. Um, hey, you're a STEM person. Nice. Yeah, no. As far as it's like, I'm a big fan of just thinking critically, analyzing, understanding your options, even putting probabilities behind it. Um, but I basically been teaching for 20 years. Hmm, has it been? No, no, no. Okay. 15 years, 15 years, 15 years. I'm kind of rounding at this point because I lost track. I started working at Valencia College in Orlando, Florida, basically doing student assistant stuff, college algebra, calculus, trigonometry, geometry, statistics. Eventually, I also moved up into UCF. I was a professor assistant, basically still within the college algebra space, a lab of like 500 students. If I had a roster of how many students I've taught in the last 15 years, I'd probably go, I w- like conservatively, I would say like 5,000 students. Realistically, it's probably ending up around 10,000, especially after teaching like a UCF, which is like that in itself has like 70,000 students, and each one has to go through a math class. And there's like 500 students just for one class lab. And then you have like 5 class labs in a day. So I would say way well beyond the 10,000. But in a general sense, I'd say the ones that really matter, the ones I helped out, I'd say it's about 5,000, 10,000, because I can't have enough time to teach every single student, right? Yeah, I'd say again about a 15 year, but eventually I decided to get out of like the brick and mortar, the on-site. I wanted to basically convert into more like a remote educator. There was this website that was taken down by Microsoft, unfortunately, called Take Lessons. I worked there for a good 8 years. I started having a really good set of rosters, a good set of students came in. I was teaching everything, anything from math, programming. I help kids learn programming from like Roblox, Lua. I learned Lua as soon as I saw that students started registering for my Lua course. I didn't know Lua. I don't know how to make Roblox games. But then I saw people like register. So I bought a bunch of courses. And like a week before the class, I learned how to make Roblox Lua games and then recreated it into a session to teach it to the students. And many times it went from just, creating games. Some of them went even further. Showed them how to do JavaScript and creating like calculators. And then eventually one of the students who was a little Indian kid, super cute kid, he came back and he learned batch scripting and Windows. And I was like, damn, son, like, either I taught you really good or you just really passionate about what you're doing. But he learned everything, and then he's kept on learning. He taught himself more programming languages. Um, so like I'd say 5 years experience with programming education. I'd say like 15 years with mathematics, sciences, computer science, and all that kind of stuff, algorithms. Mm. And it's just one of the things that fills me up on the inside, man. It just kind of, you know, is my soul that sort of, you're doing the right thing, you're helping others, and that's the whole goal in the end, is to be useful, to be supportive of others, to provide value. And it's not about making money, it's about really helping people grow, which is my general philosophy. I mean, it shouldn't. You'd be surprised how many people think that learning stops after university. That's the problem, right? People really be thinking like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm done. No more. Like, no, no, no. That's the beginning, my dude. Life is a constant lesson being learned. Like, you can't just kind of. What subject do I like most? Honestly, I hated statistics with a passion for a long time, but I have grown very much in love with the subject. Only because you see ideas like that you can like gauge yourself, you can gauge your own probabilities. When you really get a good idea, like a good example is like I have some students that like, well, what's statistics about? And I'm like, well, here's a case, right? You like basketball. Go to a basketball court, throw a bunch of 3 pointers. All right. See how many you make and how many you miss. Make 10, 20, however many you want to try out. The more the better, right? The more data, the better. And then put that into a statistical observation. What's the percent chance that you're going to make your shots? Okay, good. Now go closer to the 2 pointer. Make those shots again, the same amount, and see how many times you make those. Then you calculate based on the point value of each shot, how many times you made a shot, what's your total points you're going to get when you multiply the amount of shots times the points times the percentage, right? And then you can see based on that little factor which one you should actually do, which one bears you the most results. And if you apply that little concept on sports, you can apply that to anything that you do if you just think about it, right? What is like, you find your best cases, your best skills, your best things that you're good at, and you start gauging it in a statistical sense. You may not have to write it down, but once you're statistically aware and you're continuously observing the world around you in the sense of it, you start to really see the use of it. So I'd say statistics, really, really useful subject. Calculus, I enjoy it. Calculus is a little extra sense of accuracy and as limit approaches infinity, remove all or as much error as you can. So it's a great little supporting supplementary subject to statistics. Um, but yeah, I like algebra, honestly. Algebra just makes sense. You can't go wrong once you know it. Um, I'd say statistic number one, algebra number two, calculus three, or something. I don't know if I was to gauge it, if I had a gauging level of what subjects I like the most and not. Oh, but that's my spew there, right? So let's check out this new video. So Gen Alpha still can't read, and teachers are quitting. So you're gonna see a lot of these videos in a lot of different places. Um, there's just a sense of apathy with a lot of Gen Alpha. They just don't want to try. They probably see the difficulties they're going to go through. It's kind of a bad thing because as adults, we have to like provide a path for the kids. Yeah. But when it becomes a really tough dog eat dog world, like even the kids be realizing that it's almost pointless. I don't know. I mean, I think as kids, we always think things are pointless until it bites us in the ass later. So I'd say the adults are not doing a good job motivating them. But also, the adults are probably demotivated by all the issues in society. Like, there's a lot of issues with latest generations growing into adulthood and they can't find a job, they can't get a mortgage, they can't buy a house, all these issues that happen. So, like, you just have a trickling down apathy from the adults to the kids and just gonna keep on going down. And hopefully we can readjust it, but it does take a huge societal change to really push this in the right direction.
not realize how bad the iPad kid epidemic was until yesterday.
Hey, I just subbed a fifth grade class, and as someone with a lot of experience in the classroom and a lot of experience in reading, I just want you to know we should be really afraid about the future of our society.
A
Hmm.
heads up for parents. Kids are falling farther behind on test scores, and more kids are failing to show up for school, according to
Oof.
figures out this morning.
We have no teachers at our schools. Can you believe that?
The Educators are a
Ah,
suite
that's
of AI-powered
great.
apps that gamify
Oh
lessons,
yeah.
monitor progress.
So it's the middle of the school year, and we are again seeing a trend in teachers quitting their jobs
3 months
mid-year.
ago.
And I can't blame them. Teachers are some of the most overworked, underpaid, and burnt out professionals out there.
I attest directly to that statement too. The issues we're having right now definitely relate to the fact that we don't appreciate teachers. I remember back in my day, we were realizing that even teachers were realizing that you can be a night walker. You know what I mean with a night walker down at like downtown looking for stuff, quote unquote, looking to exchange body for money. And they get more money. They get more money than teachers do. Prostitution gets more money than teachers do. When you see that that level is so skewed, like you realize something's really wrong. And that was something we all realized back in the day. And what happens is the teacher's job has become not really teaching anymore. It's become daycare. The kids are like out of control. Their parents aren't disciplining them because no one believes in belt anymore or a chancleta or whatever you use to discipline, right? You never hit a kid with your hand, obviously, but you don't just let them do whatever they want to do. There's punishment. Like it's disciplinary punishment. And people don't want to do that anymore because kids gonna be kids, and then you're letting the kid take over, and they don't have any idea. You kind of like think of them like they're still like they don't even understand how the world works, and that you're gonna let them lead their own growth. They're gonna do whatever they want. Then the kids go to school, they're all rowdy and can't focus and don't care and misbehaving. And then the teachers have a worse time trying to teach. They become babysitters, not teachers anymore. And then they don't even get paid for that extra work. Like, and then the good teachers leave because they can't do it anymore. The bad teachers come in because they need a paycheck. They need to find a way to make money so they can pay their rent. And now you have people working as a teacher without any passion about being a teacher, about training the new generation, because it's much more than just, oh, I know how to teach. It's more like I'm here to prepare the new generation of people. If you want if you want someone that over deepens every single thought, I'm that person because in reality, life is way deeper than a basic template. So teachers, when you're a passionate teacher, you understand that every single word you say, every single thing you work through is going to be literally reflected from that child. They are so malleable that even your own worst characters become a part of that child as a teacher. So you want to be always on the right side. You will always want to be on the best side. You always want to portray the best things you can for that child. And you want them to grow on the better side of society. But when you got passionate teachers basically leaving because the pay sucks, they ended up being babysitters and they can't teach a class for anything. That's what happens. It's fall apart. And this is 10 years later, and now no one can read. It's crazy.
And I definitely know that I'm not the only person that's genuinely concerned for this next generation of children.
Yeah,
They're being
right,
raised
man.
on technology, 10-second
Yeah.
TikTok
Oh
videos,
God, the
iPads,
TikToks. We talked.
Coco Melon, AI-generated slop content. We are just now witnessing the consequences of raising an entire generation on iPads and social media, and it is not looking good. Today, we are going to be talking about a myriad of things, the effect of technology on children's development, how it's affecting their performance in the classroom, why teachers are throwing in the towel and completely leaving a career they once loved, the very real fact that the government is defunding public education and trying to push parents to homeschool their kids, and the fact that we are seeing the concerning trend that test scores in math and reading are dropping across all grade levels.
I did not realize how bad the iPad kid epidemic was until yesterday. We've all heard of the issues with these kids that are being raised on iPads and the parents blaming teachers and not being hands-on in their academics. But when I tell you I was absolutely flabbergasted at the interaction that I had with a child yesterday, I just have no words for it. I'm a bartender at a resort, and this family came up to the bar to order their food. One of the kids, who's about 8 or 9 years old, asked what flavor of Dippin' Dots we had, so I handed her a menu. This way she could read the flavors, and I was going to continue helping the rest of the party. When I tell you that I handed her the menu and she looks at me dead in the eyes and goes, I can't read. I was left
You're
absolutely
right though.
speechless for a few seconds. You're gonna tell me around second, third grade
You can't
that you
read.
can't read? I
Yeah,
truthfully
man.
did not believe what I was hearing.
On the bases, I have like, so I work under a company called Stigmy Learning, and my upper was like, "Man, your calendar is full." I'm like, "Yeah, man. They just won't leave me alone." But like, Stigmy Learning. That's actually the website. I was like, giving a shout out to them. Very good place to learn. This is more for like the K-12 and stuff like this, right? Um, this is where I work basically. We got plenty of tutors here. It's basically specific for mathematics. But we get a lot of case scenarios where we have students that are just have an impairment, that just have something in the way, whether it's they hate a subject, whether they're afraid of a subject, whether they actually have like autism, dyslexia. And a lot of those students end up with me. But I'll tell you, over the 15 years, I've developed like the most unbreakable patience a human being can possibly have. There is no student that can break me. I've had some crazy experiences that I'll probably have to eventually go over. I can't name names or anything like this, or even show video because I have recordings, but I can probably still use audio to explain, how this student was. And my God, this was a TikTok kid. Oof. They do specifically mathematics, SAT, um, technically, honestly, we do anything. A lot of my students, they sign up for math and they end up going into history, into English literature. So I don't know if other tutors do the same thing, but generally, like, they ask me, like, hey, can you do the subject? I'm like, yeah, I can do that subject. I can do English lit, I can do statistics, I can do history, science, physics, whatever they really need at this point. Like, even on the basis of like K-12 education, it's pretty straightforward. Maybe a little preparation will be necessary, but when I have the content from their class, I can kind of really adjust to what they're doing and be like, all right, we're talking about, the Civil War, we're talking about um, Great Depression, whatever it is that the subject is. So there is no particular case that stops us. Like you can have any problems. Most of the time, students come here from like mathematics and stuff. We have video lectures and stuff like this, but they're trying to kind of work on an AI. But even like my boss admitted, like AI only works on those motivated. AI only works to teach those kids that are having problems, but they're motivated to fix it. So I get the students that have no motivation, they're completely out of bounds, but I love them to death because they're all a bunch of weirdos. Um, but the AI does exist, like there is a sense of its usage, and it's all right, it's pretty decent. Um, and that's their little thing happening here. So this is like kind of their the AI system. Then you've got the one-on-one tutoring where that's where I'm at right there. That's basically, uh, I respect small business. I'm always like, even recently I made a project again for POS, point of sales for a small business. I will work at a small business and help them grow faster and more passionately than I will work for a large business. um, a large business and basically end up working in an office cubicle. I hate that idea. I cannot imagine working in a cubicle for somebody else that's already successful. It's just crazy. Why do they hate math, man? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because teachers suck. And every single time I have a student that's like, wow, this was easy. How come they didn't teach me this? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they tried. And I was like, do you remember this word and this? Did they try to go over? Like, yeah, I remember them telling me about this, but they didn't teach me this. Like, well, technically they should have taught you this, but if it didn't click, then the teacher didn't teach it exactly how it should have been taught, and it didn't make sense. They're like, well, when did you learn this? And they're like, oh, a year or two ago. And it's like, oh, well, how was the teacher? It's like, oh, I hated that teacher. And I'm like, well, there you go. This is where the hate comes from, right? It's the teacher itself that really makes the problem, where we, as other teachers, end up being the ones to fix that problem. And that's the oddity of things, right? Like these teachers that we have are certified, they got all their documentations, they went through the process of being these prepared teachers in an educational system that requires bureaucratic documents to verify that they can do what they do, and yet they still can't do what they do. And you come to me, a computer science major that I just really love to teach, and I've had this experience over a long period of time on how to teach a bunch of different people. And I, without any of these official documentations, teach way better than the teachers that have the documentations. It's crazy. Anyway, that's a little bit on Stigme, uh, the work that I do there. But I gotta plug myself in, right? I gotta plug myself in. If you go to ChrisMIA, you'll find me there too. Yeah, this is me. What's up? But I have two sectors here. You can do school education pathway, just looking for like K-12 support. Then the hands-on real working skills, PHP, MySQL, Python. Basically, I kind of take both sides of the spectrum. I have a currently I have actually a student that turned to a friend, but he was a student back in 2012. It was a very unique case that really made me understand a certain sense of education. He was blind, and I taught him algebra. But I had to teach him by using his hands to portray the movement of a slope or where the axes are and all these things. I was using his hands to make him see what math was. And that was like a very interesting experience. And he still uses me today, not for education, but rather we've been working a lot on trying to get him going into a new job because after 5 years working at a payroll for Verizon, he got fired last December because they had like a huge layoff. So we've been basically grinding on a bunch of applications. We've probably completed like 2,000 applications in the last couple of months. And um, he still seeks my help from time to time when I need to do stuff for him. So he trusts me to such a level that essentially I've become his right-hand man when it comes to his daily like workloads, preparing him for interviews, applying for applications, all this kind of stuff. But he taught me one big thing. And the next thing I kind of learned is that when we were going all these applications, there's a lot of companies are looking for MySQL and Python. That's why these are here. You don't have to make websites. If you want to, I can teach you. You don't need to know PHP for servers. It's a good way to kind of create something big, though. But the case scenario is if you're in finance, FNP, financial planning and analysis, if you're in data analysis, if you're in, oh gosh, accrual accounting, not comptroller, what's the other word? Yeah, it was a controller. All these kind of like finance jobs basically require MySQL and Python. So those are the big ones that I normally would teach any third-party cases. But you can do, there's my YouTube, and then there's my Patreon. So that's another way to support me. If you go to my Patreon, it's free to actually be a member, right? You can support me if you wanted to, doesn't matter. I don't normally the actual value for the $7 is I give back. If you have any questions of programming, whatever, I reply, right? It's more of a text-based support. So like $7 a month, you have a question in programming, I will draw you a diagram. I will show it or record it and give it to you in a format. But again, it's for those that are in the process of learning. But I have some files on here. Members get access to some of these files to get to play around with some programs and stuff like this. Um, what else? What else? And they get Discord, so you can basically get in contact with me on Discord, which I'm slowly migrating away from Discord. That's the thing there. I'm kind of slowly migrating away from Discord. I'll see if that's even possible because everyone's become like, it's just another case of slopification, right? You've got you got people basically really intertwining their life with Discord, and now Discord wants to like take over all privacy of your existence, and now we got to get motivated to move out of it. So that's the thing. Well, Discord's basically trying to, they tried it real hard and they're still doing it. I know a friend of mine actually got prompted to like put in their phone number, put in their like ID and all this stuff. And I don't trust nobody online taking my information because everyone gets hacked. Even Discord got hacked. Um, we have, what was it when they first started throwing it out there last 2 or 3 months ago? they had a third-party privacy dealer basically, and they managed all the information. They said once they verify you, they'll delete the information, but they didn't delete the information, so they got hacked. The third party got hacked, and all the people that trusted Discord and gave their driver's licenses got leaked through that hack. That's why I'm migrating. I'm trying to get people to be motivated to leave in that direction. I do have a article I wrote about that. Hold on. That's quite a bit back. Yeah. So why I'm switching to Stoat Revolt from Discord. This kind of explains the details. Which Stoat is more of an open source version. And it's basically like a Discord-based system. Literally looks exactly like it. You can make it as a self-hostable system as well. You can use their servers on top of it. I might try and find a way to create my own server and self-host it. I think I might be able to do that with a PHP or Python server, potentially. We'll see. We'll see how far I go with the details. But so far, I'm still in Discord because everyone's still in Discord, and it's the masses that need to really be aware of what's going on before the true migration can happen. But when you join the community as a free member, you do get links for both Stoat and Discord. So that's there for anyone deciding to have both options ready. But I definitely recommend it. Definitely want to be prepared just in case something big happens and we need to move out real quick. We got to be more flexible as consumers. As consumers, we get so intertwined with something that our life revolves around that one thing. And if anything changes, it just destroys our workflow, our life flow, our everything flow. And like, that's kind of the thing. We need to be a little bit more flexible with how we exist, what things we dedicate ourselves to, and then really go into the details of like, can I go to something new if things change? Because that's what they keep doing. They keep changing. Shit keeps getting slopified. That's what they try to do with AI, is try to get everyone dependent on that stuff, make it cheap for now, but then later, no one's got thoughts because they what is the word? They exported it, exported their own thinking process to an AI system. I think they were trying to really get that to happen, so people became dependent on an AI, and then they started bumping up the prices, and they thought that they could make profit from it. I think it takes a lot more time before people really get to that level, but the new generations, that's where they're at, man. Of course, the AI psychosis is pretty intense.
And that's just frightening.
Someone commented, teachers are screaming this from the rooftops and nobody is listening. Subbed for a class of second graders, majority didn't know how to read. One little girl said, I don't read, I just play YouTube on my iPad, when I
Oh my
asked
God.
if she read at home. Kids can't tell time either, unless it's digital.
Kids
Yeah.
are always asking me, what time is it? These are middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Wow.
And there's a clock in the room, but they don't know how to read it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So just in case you missed
That's
that,
insane.
these middle schoolers and high schoolers don't know how to read an analog clock.
High
Let
schoolers.
that sink in. Someone commented, so teach them? And someone else responded, they were supposed to learn this in elementary school.
Okay, well, then teach them. I understand. Then teach them. Just do it. They didn't stop teaching either. A second grader brought this home today. Okay, so somebody else brought in like, yeah, I mean, can you diverge from the current lesson plan so you can teach them how to read a clock that they should have known for like 7 years, 5 to 7 years? I didn't want to say the meme number. Like, should you divert your whole current high school class plan just to teach them clocks? Can you do that? Probably not, because you got a standard workflow you got to go with. You got a syllabus you have to follow. So that's just going to make everything else fall behind. It's crazy.
Stop teaching it either. My second grader brought this home today. And it's a worksheet. It's a picture of a clock showing 7:30 and the student has to write what time it is. So to reiterate, they're still teaching it, but these kids aren't learning it, or rather they don't want to learn it because their iPad will tell them the time.
I don't need to wear pants. I have underwear.
Driving me insane. Skibbity rig, skibbity toilet.
Oh
Whatever
God.
you're talking about, I don't know. It's annoying, and they literally
Yeah.
do it all day long. If I hear
Oh
say
my
it one more
God.
time, I'm going to scream. I really want to cuss. Can I cuss? I don't know what's
Hmm.
with the touching. Like, they cannot stop touching each other, hugging and hitting, and like just constantly putting their hands on each other. And they
Those are kids. They're gonna do that. Like the hitting part, the hugging part, maybe the random touching, maybe that's a little bit on the borderline of weird. But like, could it be also that they're just socially isolated? So when they become in a like, go into a social environment, they start getting touchy feely because they don't get that sort of interaction outside. I don't know.
be digging in their nose. I can't take it. And this is fourth grade. They're doing this. They cannot stand the idea of silence. They are humming, they are drumming, they are tapping, they are making noises aloud. They cannot stand silence. I wasn't
That's
me.
crazy.
No, I wasn't. No, I didn't. And I'm looking right at you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, sir, I saw you. I watched you before I told you to stop. The gaslighting is ridiculous. Why do you have out scissors and glue and we're doing a math lesson that has nothing to do with you cutting or gluing anything down? You would really think that these kids are driven by motor. Like, the lack of self-control is at an all-time high.
That's true.
There's no way that my entire class has ADHD. And if that's the case, somebody need to get together and do some real serious studying, because something ain't right. But I love my
Yeah.
job. I love teaching. I love working with kids. I enjoy what I do. I really and truly do. But like I said, these kids, they don't make it easy. They making us work for that little chick. And I do
A
not
little
want to.
check.
So I felt like a boomer when I
True.
looked up a lot of this brain rot content kids are consuming. I don't have any Gen Zs in my family, so I didn't know the slang and kind of the things that were popular on social media with them. And
Here
I've
we
heard
go.
about Skibbity, and I still don't really understand what it is, but I
Nope.
did come across some very concerning things that kids are consuming online.
I need to show you how Ballerina Cappuccino took me from Bluey to an AI video that depicts the worst thing I can imagine on a kid's feed, and somehow I'm still shocked despite this being day 10 of these tests. Like always,
Jesus.
I wiped this iPad. It's my third time doing it, and I created a YouTube account and trained it on kids' videos. So I use the regular YouTube app, not the YouTube Kids app, because regular YouTube is 15 times more popular for kids. And when I would go back and forth between short and long form videos, the shorts were fine. I was getting
Is he after
mainstream arts
Fortnite?
and crafts videos.
Maybe Fortnite ruined a whole generation. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, technically, when you remember that building mechanic, only like super powered autistic kids can use that building mechanic. When I tried playing Fortnite back in the day, I tried it for a little bit, but my God, that building mechanic was absolutely ridiculous. I did not like that at all. I was like, why am I building up? Which makes sense, Sun Tzu, Art of War, the one with the elevation benefit has an advantage over the other with lower elevation. That makes sense, right? But that mechanic was just way too much, man. That made me feel like I was gonna have a seizure or like vertigo.
With no harmful AI videos. Then I searched for Ballerina Cappuccina, and that was
Uh,
all it took. If you don't know about Italian brain rot, it's very popular for kids. And after
I mean, it even has it in its name, Italian brain rot. How far gone have we gotten that even kids are like, yeah, I watch it, brain rot, the Italian one. Like, how far gone have these kids gotten that they want to literally destroy their brain?
watching 3 of those shorts, I went back to the homepage, and the first video was fine, but then the second video was a cat video. Instant. I literally cannot tell you or show you what's in this video. I'll show little snippets that are
I don't
not
know
the
if you want to
graphic
know.
part, but there is a scene depicting the worst type of act towards a woman. Yeah, it's
Ah,
really bad, and it's
that's effed
wrapped
up.
in this sort of AI cat package. And from here on out, the next 20 shorts were noticeably worse than before I had searched for anything brain rot related. I try to
Oh my
focus
God.
on algorithms and AI
Just pushed
videos.
him
I
off the
stay away
boat.
from parenting advice because I don't have kids, but I could not help but think about those Italian brain rot toys and how cultivating a kid's interest in
Art of
this
shit.
is
Yeah,
the
man.
Trojan
For
horse
real.
for other more harmful AI videos because the YouTube algorithm doesn't know the difference.
This is ElsaGate all over again, but with the method of content creation with unlimited capacity. Terrifying. People
Yeah.
saying we, millennials and Gen Z, had our own version of brain rot, but this is just so much worse than those. Human development doctor here, do not let your kids on your phone or internet. Unmoderated iPad time for kids is straight up neglect. The
Yeah.
fact that it was AI essay so quickly is chilling. The internet is not for kids, and I will die on that hill. So naturally, I went down a rabbit hole and
True.
started looking into this Italian brain
True.
rot AI content, and it was very concerning what was showing up on the screen. I was seeing
Mm.
violent acts towards women, content that is way too mature for any child, and even weapons featured in these videos. It was disgusting. What's even more
Yeah.
sinister and makes my stomach drop is the fact that there are adults out there that are creating this content for kids to consume. And I hesitate to give out parenting advice because I'm not a parent myself, but if you have a child, what is the reason that they need to have a smartphone, especially at such a young age, or an iPad? And if they do, please make sure you have parental controls and safeguards in place. Even that isn't foolproof. Kids know how to get around that too. But monitor them, because just like that guy in that clip showed, even with the completely wiped iPad, as soon as he typed in one brain rot phrase, the content got very dark, very mature, not okay for children's eyes, and all it took was that one search to take him down a dark rabbit hole
That's
of
messed up.
content that kids should not be watching.
Hey, I just subbed a fifth grade class, and as someone with a lot of experience in the classroom and a lot of experience in reading, I just want you to know we should be really afraid about the future of our society.
Yeah.
Do you know that every single kid thinks they're going to be a content creator, and when you ask them what their hobbies are, it's all video game and addictive things that they think are hobbies. Hobbies are not that. Hobbies are not addictive things. Hobbies are the things that brought you joy before you were 5 or 6 years old. So maybe it was soccer, maybe it was animals, maybe it was going outside, but these kids don't know those things about themselves. Quite frankly, I don't even think they know when they have to go to the bathroom. I don't even think they know when they're hungry. They just want
Yeah.
to get back onto their devices ASAP. And I'm not blaming their parents. I mean, as a society.
And I'm just going to come out and say it, I do blame the
You're right. A lot of like it's not like adult content that we would consider, but it is with that hint that I mean, just think about a child looking at cats and that cat is cute, whatever, the cat like this on bipedal humanoid, and all of a sudden it takes out a weapon. Like, okay, it's a cat, but that's a weapon. Like just the fact that that cat situation was like the video they were talking about a second ago was based on cats and it was all cute and stuff, but all of a sudden, like home abuse subjects were in play. Like, it's basically adult content disguised as cartoons, and does not work good for the brain. These kids are being taught this stuff, and they're really like they're gonna replicate it. Like that's what kids do. They replicate the things they see. That's the worst part. That's why as a teacher, like I mentioned before, like you gotta be careful. You have to be the model you wish that student is gonna represent after you're done teaching and representing them. That's it. You gotta be the thing that you want them to be in the future. Even though you may need to be patient, you know, they can do some stuff that could anger you, but you don't want to react to it because then they're going to learn how to react to it, and all of a sudden you taught them a bad habit. That's a human social aspect. How can you control any of that when there's cats with guns and home abuse? Like, what the hell, man? It's ridiculous.
parents, at least partially. There are things I do understand that are not within parents' control, such as technology and how much that's advanced over the years, and public schools getting defunded, right? There are things that are not in their control, but there are also things that are in their control, such as reading to their kids, teaching them right from wrong, spending time with them, and actually talking to them, not just sitting and staring at your phone while you're in your child's presence. There are so
Right.
many things
The
parents can do to
parents,
raise
though.
healthy.
The parents, though. And I'm gonna say, these parents, these are the millennials that got drafted into this consumer process. And the exact thing that they're having trouble with right now when it comes to the whole situation is literally from the parents' perspective, that's where it came from. There's something bad about the current parental system that we've developed. It's not beneficial to the kids and people my generation, they don't know how to be parents, man. Like in a way, I understand it because from the generation that taught me, I understand why we're gonna have this sort of like heated emotional response to I'm never gonna teach my kid the way they taught me sort of perspective. But they never realize that these kids are gonna use you, just like we try to use our parents until they give us some discipline. Like, kids are gonna do what kids can do. Kids are biologically wired to survive in their best interest. in their best interest, not the parents' best interest, their own best interest, which includes dopamine hits as a child. And we just keep letting it happen. They get addicted to it, and now they keep seeking it, and now they're watching TikToks because it gives them those dopamine hits on a regular basis, man. It's ridiculous. So I definitely blame my generation for the way things are, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate.
Stable kids that will flourish in society.
As a society, I think we should have had better parameters and better education about this 15 years ago, but we didn't, and here we are. So here's what you need to do. You need to set parameters with your child today. This is life or death. What job do you think they're going to get if they can't put their phone down for 5 minutes? What job do you think they're going to get if they can't even write their name legibly? What
Yeah.
job do you think they're going to get if they can't spell the word
Oh, dude.
caring and they're 11 years old? Not everyone's
You're
going to be a
talking about
content creator. Not
idiocracy,
everyone is
huh?
going to make it and get advertising.
Oh,
Just
you
the fact that
know.
they all want
You know I've seen Idiocracy. That's where we're headed. Idiocracy is... It's a warning. That's what it is. It's a bit more of like a warning than anything else, but I feel like we're using it as like a guide for how we're gonna get to that situation, how we're getting to the future. It's not a warning, it's almost like a guide now. That's the problem. We need to treat it like a warning, but we're having that problem because people are treating it like a guide. That's the big problem.
to be content creators is already concerning in and of itself. Of course, when all you do is scroll on your phone all day, when the only example of someone who is successful and wealthy is an influencer, that's who they're going to want to aspire to be. And then they have no other marketable skills in the workforce because they didn't pay attention in school and all they did was scroll on their phone. And for a society to thrive and be successful, we have to have people in all professions. We can't just have all doctors or all lawyers. We need to have people in varying professions.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what your kids need. They need communication skills. They need to be able to listen to their own bodies and know when they need to go to the bathroom.
For real.
They need to be able to control themselves. They need to be able to go to bed on time, which nobody is doing.
Self-control. Like the very first level of self-control is controlling your reptilian brain. That's it. Dopamine hits, the need to eat, the need to pee, like the basics of existence. Like having those bases of control is kind of like level 1 of becoming a human. But you have kids that can't do that. I know of kids that wear diapers until they're 10 and their parents don't do nothing about it. Oh yeah, he's different. Yeah, he really is different, Karen. You should probably teach him. How did I study and how much? Well, it depends, man. College was the biggest like study case. When I was in college, I was actually also working at the same time, so I really didn't have much time. I wouldn't even say the best methods I learned were in college. I was just kind of working on just the typical review stuff, do the stuff. You get an assignment, you do it. You got a program you got to write. I write it in an hour because I sucked back then at programming. It would take me like 9 hours to figure out why it didn't work. Nowadays, it's way better. But my current, I still learn all the time. Like right now I'm basically working with AI and trying to apply that to my general workflow when it comes to local AI models. So when I do approach any new learning task, I understand myself from my previous experience. That's the next level of self-control. It's self-awareness. And I know I work best, I learn best when I watch something, but that's like 20%. I just watch something to look at it and understand the concepts and the things I need to be aware of, just to have like a visual familiarity. And then the next 80%, no, 70%, the next 70% is me doing it. So there's like 3 concepts or 3 layers of learning that everyone can basically self-identify with. Some are more inflamed than others. You have the visual learner, basically just learn from looking at stuff. You have like a photographic memory. You can look at something and then recreate it in your mind. Rare, but I've seen a lot of kids that have that. They literally just remember by looking at it. What up, Mr. Spooky? Welcome in, welcome in. Then you've got the kinesthetic learning, where you actually have to physically move to learn, whether it's physically writing down information, whether it's typing out code as you are learning the code, or for some kids, it's like grab a fucking fidget spinner because I cannot stand you fidgeting around and jumping. You gotta start paying attention. Like I use a fidget spinner as a learning tool for those some of the kids. 'Cause some of these kids got some heavy energies they got to get taken out somehow. But that's the differences in learning, right? Then you got auditory, that's my last 10%. Once I get a really good understanding of what I've learned, my programming language of choice, this is how I did it with Python, this is how I did it with PHP, this is how I did it with MySQL. Then I put on some videos and I just listen to them. I listen to the ideas that they provide. I'll probably do some other stuff on the computer, multitask. I was just a kid. For real though, right? That's kind of the misconception too. Like you're a kid. Kids got energy. Like, do you gotta drug them? Like, do you gotta constantly go to drugs as a solution? That's the big problem with society. We be drugging everyone, not considering the factors here. It's gonna have energy. Go get them outside. Go to recess. Go run. Or get them parents to get them outside and touch grass nowadays because everyone's stuck in an iPad, right? But like, you don't have to like throw in drugs into the mix. Like, these are kids, man. You're gonna make them dependent on that stuff. But we just excuse it. We put everything to a name. Everyone's got a disorder about something. And then we put a name to it, and then we put a drug to it as a solution, and corporations get paid. There you go. You can tell I didn't need it because they gave it to me. I fell asleep for 3 hours straight in school. No one could wake. Yo, the Adderall hits you differently though. Jesus. That's crazy. I hear some like people be reacting opposite to the drug of choice, but dang, like you passed out on Adderall? That's pretty intense. I've tried Adderall before. It makes me really hyperactive. Like I don't like it at all. Um, I don't like it at all. There was some what was it? Lion's mane. I like those mushrooms, not the mushrooms, but like lion's mane is a really good form of like a neurological support, and it kind of gives you like a real good sort of like focal focus. Like there's some things that I'll take as far as like natural stuff that exists because there's plenty of like fruits and veggies and all kinds of stuff. Like I love blueberries for the brain. Walnuts really good for the brain. Dark chocolate. I'm talking 98% dark chocolate. Can't skimp down on that. Oh, I had a friend on Xanax, my dude. Like he was on that shit for 3 years. It took him a whole year plus just to get off of it. It was ridiculous, dude. No, not a single good thing. Man, I mean, it's supposed to like he was depressed or he had something, but they identified him as being depressed or overly emotional or something, so they suppressed all of that with Xanax. And the poor guy, like he was crashing out when he started like leaving it. And the therapist or whatever is like psychologist, therapist. I was therapist. 'Cause one of them does drugs, one of them does talking to you for nothing. Clinical depression, anxiety. There it is. Yeah. So like, yeah, I know that feel. I've seen him crash out. That Xanax is dangerous shit, dude. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. I feel bad for a lot of people that get stuck in that. But that's the problem too, man. Parents be, we live in a society of high trust, which is good, but we probably shouldn't. We probably shouldn't be trusting the things that are being given to us because we can understand that everything that gets done is for a profit. That was during my sophomore year, mainly. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I mean, come on. You're a sophomore. You're stressing out. Of course, you're gonna have anxiety. That's natural human thing, Like, but to prescribe drugs about it. That's crazy. I don't remember shit about the year of school. I was on autopilot zombie mode. Yeah. I mean, people are depressed because life is stressful. I remember when I was depressed in college, uh, hoping that I can get a job or do something with the thing I'm doing right now. Otherwise, I'm going to be paying this debt for a long time, right? Sort of thing. Like, there's a lot of reasons people get depressed. But it's just a cycle of life. And I think honestly, it's not that it's a normal cycle of life. I think that the overall environment we living in is getting degraded. Like we're basically lobsters in a pot that's starting to boil. We're not noticing it. We don't notice how hot it got, but we're starting to realize, holy crap, it's getting hot in here and society's not doing as good as it should be. Like if you look at the statistics behind like inflation, every single recession, every single economic collapse, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. The money gets concentrated in a certain location and then gets taken away from the people that are doing blue collar jobs. And now the AI thing, and people are concerned that what they're doing is going to be replaced by AI. I'd say that's like maybe 50-50 at this point. I don't think AI is ready for that kind of thing yet. The only thing AI can really like do is replace like call centers. I'm doing way better now though. I'm enrolled in tech school. Yeah, there you go. Tech school. Honestly, if I was gonna say what's worth your time as a student growing into like a working environment, tech school. Whether it's computer tech, whether it's plumbing, whether it's carpentry, those are going to be the skills people are going to be missing because everyone wants to have a white collar office job. They don't really want to work with their hands. That's the creative existence, right? That's where people create things. So you're going to have a lot of people with good jobs in the tech world because they've decided to go into that sort of place. CIT, cool, very cool. Information tech. What's the C? We just called it. Oh wait, we did have a C in front of ours. Uh, God, what was the C? Information tech, but what was it? I'm studying for an A plus plus core one currently. Got it. Got it. Good man. Good place to be, especially with the AI world. You're going to be the ones that maintain that sucker. And you're also going to be the one that's going to press the red button shutdown when things get a little too crazy. So, you know, stay on that. Oh, computer information tech. Got it. Right. Yeah, that's true. We just call it infotech. At this point, after you get out of CIT, no one calls it with the C anymore. We assume it's going to be a computer. But like generally speaking, that's one of the hands-on worlds, right? Making like focus on servers, focus on understanding servers. That's where everything's going. There's going to be a central server point. Understand how networking topologies work. That's like honestly, in my world right now, as an individual that just exists and works for other people, whether it's like creating a system, a POS system for my client, it pays to know how a network works. Absolutely does. It's just the main frame of how computers communicate. I have a lot of videos that basically talk about this kind of stuff too. If you wanted to like learn how like a networking system works, look at the gray hack videos on YouTube. A lot of my and also so you know, since you're on Twitch, my videos are recorded on YouTube. So any video that I've done live here, you can find it on YouTube. All right, man. Thanks for joining. Thanks for talking. Enjoy the conversation, man. I try to get on every Sunday, and from time to time, I'll probably do it during the week. But maybe I want to test out Sunday, see, because last Sunday Twitch really got popping in here, and a lot of people came up. Uh, I had a huge like. I normally get one viewer on Twitch on regular basis, but that Sunday came up like I had an average of 300 viewers at one point. So I'm gonna try that Sunday though. We'll see. We'll see. But definitely tell your friends. Help me out. Spread the love. And you know, let's try and get people on the right side of the future, right? Let's get see if we can do that. I'm gonna be more likely end up doing networking or cybersecurity. I'll figure that out. I have an ITF cert already. Nice. By the time I finish the class, I should have an ITF plus, networking plus, security plus. Nice stuff. Good stuff, dude. Yeah, get that bell going. Put that bell on so you know when I'm live next, my dude. Talk to you later, Rudra. Peace out. Um, there's a lot of simulating software games, you can call them simulated games. One of them is this. Mm, of course, it's going to be a Steam game, but consider that it's actually also on my channel. So if you go right now and you look up Greyhack, It's one of my favorite games. Really cool game. Like, if you want to learn networking and how it works on a hacker's perspective, great game. I wouldn't even say that it's like far off from the real world because I've played with some stuff. Hey, nice man, nice. Maybe if you still play it, because they got an online mode, maybe we could create a little gang, right? A little darknet gray hack gang going on. But it's really cool. It's like so that level of what you want to like kind of experience. Because it takes to be a good security expert, you got to know how a hacker thinks. You know, that's kind of the case. But it's really cool stuff. I love that. I love that game. I got to get back into it. I know a lot of people be liking that. It still keeps going. I'm getting a lot of views. People loving this. It's been 10 months since I streamed it last. Holy crap. Oh, no. Wow, that one's 1 year ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, I need to get back on that Grey Hack bandwagon. But they've been changing so much stuff, and I haven't. It's a learning progress. Like, you got to learn everything they update. Every little detail of the update's got to be learned. Yes. Oh, you are me back in my day, man. You are me when I was with Windows Vista. When I was with Windows Vista, I was like, forget this, I'm getting Ubuntu 12.04. I'm going to Linux. Although back then it wasn't as nice as it is today, I'll tell them that. Back then we didn't have that much application support, but nowadays we got Proton. Thank you, our Lord and Savior Steam, for creating Proton. That stuff was like, I don't know. I mean, okay, on the basis of like Vista took up like 5 gigs of RAM, dude. They really tried so hard to make it look good that it just broke stuff. It just was unworkable. Cool. I got Casio OS on a secondary drive. I got a MacBook with my Mint. I got a desktop fully Mint. And then I got my Windows. But one of these days, I got my Windows 10. And because it is out of support, I've also loaded it up with firewalls, hid all of the networking protocols. So basically, you can't identify the computer. Basically, and lock down any installation without my particular unlocking of the installation of anything or the running in the background of stuff. I've taken the precautions to consider what's the issue of not upgrading to Windows 11 and having it unsupported anymore. Hello, Crystal. Welcome in. How you doing? How it goes? But anyway, outside of Linux talk, as a teacher, man, we've been doing a little bit of what's going on with the new generation. I do a lot of teaching as well. I've got about 15 students. I teach mathematics, and man, you'd be surprised the kind of students I get. I probably no, you won't be surprised if you guess TikTok every 15 seconds. They're trying to pay attention. You guessed right. Like it's really difficult sometimes to really get them to pay attention, man. I'm doing good. I am doing good. Just chilling here for a little bit. Got a little bit of time before my students start. I actually got a student in about an hour, so I'm probably gonna cool down in about 30 minutes, get off stream, and then get doing that because I got students for the next 6 hours after that. Remote connection through SSH between my computer. That was a fun project. True, true. I did SSH into my TV. I have a WebOS TV, and I tried to like make it my own, but man, they lock you out hardcore. Anyway, let's keep going here.
Deprived, emotional intelligence deprived, affection deprived generation ever. Wake
Yeah, true.
up and really care, please, because it is not fair to them. Do you know how many board games I own now, trying to reconquer my children's childhood?
Yeah, dude, we had like all these nice board games when we were young, and it like gave us a social interaction, gave us the ability to like get into this sort of like teaching perspective. Everyone was a teacher. How do you play this game? Oh, absolutely enjoy teaching. I've tried many jobs in my life, and teaching is the only one that basically fills my soul. Uh, and sometimes when I want to take a break from like the teaching, because like I'm overburdened, I just need to take a break. I can't not teach for more than like 2 weeks to a month before I start like, nah, I need to teach somebody something. I even taught my mom Linux, dude. That was a big feat. I was able because I was in the Vista days. I taught my mom how to use Linux for a little bit. That was insane. Oh, sorry was fun. Yup, yup, yup. Monopoly though. Monopoly was a big one. That taught you a little bit about how life is unfair. That Monopoly board game. Nah, really did teach you a little bit about life. Board games, they have like cafes with board games now. Those are super awesome. I definitely recommend going to those and bringing friends. I think we need to like make a new movement back to board games. We need to, you, walk in, turn off your phone, and then just play some board games. My mom and my her friends when I was like 6 or 7 years old, dude, they were playing Monopoly all the time. It became a part of my general existence. Like they were just playing Monopoly on a regular basis. Hold on. Oh yeah. Okay. I was like, what's going on here? And that was my Steam going cray cray. All right, keep
I'm
going.
telling you, the time is now. And honestly, I don't even feel comfortable saying it on the internet what types of disgusting sexual things these kids say at 11 years old.
So to this point, if you're new, we basically are observing the new generation and how they're growing from a teacher's perspective. And we're looking at basically all these AI generated slop fests. And the last thing we basically saw was like this weird cat thing. Here, right here. Let me see where I am now. Right there, right here.
Videos. So I use the regular YouTube app, not the YouTube Kids app, because regular YouTube is 15 times more popular for kids. And
Even if you give them like the YouTube Kids app, they're still gonna see some weird stuff like Lululemon, that thing. What up, Toxic? We got a OPOP. Yeah.
when I would go back and forth
I'll shut up
between
when you shut up.
short and long form videos, the shorts were fine. I was getting mainstream arts and crafts videos with no harmful AI videos. Then I searched for ballerina cappuccina, and
Oh,
that
this is
was
where it
all
starts,
it
man.
took. If you don't know about Italian brain rot, it's
This
very
crap.
popular for kids.
Imagine living in a society where kids are actually like actually watching and happy and like flaunting it. Like, yeah, I watch Italian brain rot. Imagine bragging about watching something about brain rot. It's ridiculous. I'm not trying to be funny, dude. I'm trying to be realistic. If you're looking for comedy, go to the next door. Thanks for coming in.
And after just watching 3 of those shorts, I went back to the homepage, and the first video was fine, but then the second video was a cat video.
This one. Like, they be disguising these videos to look cute and stuff, and then all of a sudden they be like abusing.
Cannot
Look at this, like home abuse.
Tell you or show you what's in this video. I'll show little snippets that are not the graphic part. But
Look at this. What the actual fuck is going on these AI shorts, man? These are the type of things kids be looking at. It's like cute cats, and all of a sudden it escalates. And they probably be carrying weapons and all this other stuff. This is kind of where we at. We just watching basically what these kids be watching. And it's a serious epidemic. These kids are brainwashed like crazy. Look, we have a brain rot in chat. What do you... What... Well, thanks for dropping in, but if you're not going to make any sense, then keep on texting, man. That's fine.
The government control your
I'm
children's
trying to
phone
understand
game?
what you're trying to do, but you ain't making no sense. You want to talk in complete sentences? You want to make a point? Have a little context in your speech? Or...
Do it. You should really care because those things on the phones are addictive. All of it's addictive.
It's all dopamine hits. The kids are like addicted to that kind of stuff, man.
I am a first-year high school English teacher. This is definitely going to be my first and last year teaching. I was made very quickly aware of the fact that this is not the profession for me. It is absolutely astonishing and scary how your kids are 14, 15 years old and still do not have the proper reading skills. And I'm not talking about the ESC kids, the 504s, the IEP kids. I'm talking about your everyday regular Joe Schmo from Kokomo kid who does not know how to read
mobile
and write at the level that...
I don't know. Let me check my screen time. I barely use the mobile device, honestly. If I go to what is it? Where do I find it? Let me see.
They should. And the problem is that they don't care to learn how to do those things correctly.
And I have a comment here from one of you guys from a previous video that says, I had a 10-year-old neighbor kid ask me what a yard sale sign said. I was reading Harry Potter
Damn.
when I was 10. And I think the fact
Damn.
that a lot of kids can't read is the most genuinely concerning part of all of this. Obviously, the fact that they have unlimited access to the internet and are on
It's on
social media
battery, right?
at way too early of an age is scary as well. But if kids can't read, how are you going to survive in the world as an adult? How are you going to read articles, get employment, understand the world?
That's the problem. Kids don't have a connected context awareness. They can't read multiple sentences or spell correctly, like this guy, and they can't connect two sentences together. It's this grown man is yapping about brain rot, bro. It's not deep. Yeah, bro, you're really making a point right there. You're literally making the exact point we're watching. But thanks for joining. Appreciate it. You're literally right here in the middle of the process. I'm trying to save you from yourself, but you keep on doing what you're doing, my dude. Like you kind of making that exact point we're going over. But appreciate you being here. I'm trying to find mine. Uh, I know I've seen that before somewhere. Look,
Around you, it is just absolutely mind blowing and makes me so nervous for what we are going to see with these kids when they grow up in the next 20, 30 years. I feel like a boomer, but I really don't know if there's hope for this next generation. How do you come back from that? I don't think there's a way back if a 10-year-old can't even read the words yard sale.
I have a sister that was born in 2012, which, by the way, didn't know that was possible. Thought 2012 was for
yeah, man,
Cody.
you keep on
But
talking.
she's a generation after Gen Z. They're called Generation Alpha. I don't like the tone of that. But I was trying to connect with her. I was like, so girl, like, what's cool on the Disney Channel these days?
Oh, jeez.
She looks me dead in the eye and goes, I don't watch plot-based media.
Yikes.
Oh.
Someone
Cool.
commented, plot-based
Nice.
media is literally how children learn empathy.
Plot-based media is how you learn context. I'm trying to really find where the hell. I remember seeing this before. If I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say about an hour max. That's when I'm on the toilet, 10 minutes here and there. Not much. I could time him out. But it doesn't bother me. If he gets a little too cray-cray, I'll go ahead and do it. I think he left, though.
Kids are genuinely not engaged with storytelling anymore,
He
which
got
is as
tired.
horrifying as it
Once you
sounds.
ignore them, they go
One
away.
of the oldest human creative pursuits, and kids are just not doing it. I'm scared of Gen Alpha, and not in a good, funny way.
Oh,
I'm
look,
genuinely
he's
worried
back.
for whatever
Somewhere
comes
else?
to and from them in the next
What is
couple
this guy?
decades. As if plot-based
What is
media
this
was
guy?
a trend and not a crucial and enduring social tool that we developed tens of thousands of years ago. This is
Thanks
actually the
for
problem.
doing
They're
that, I
not
guess.
watching content produced by people who know how to read and write. The little girl literally looks at her and essentially says, I'm too old and too good to watch all that crap on PBS Kids and Disney Channel. I just scroll on TikTok. According to Aspire
That's
Early
crazy.
Education, storytelling plays a vital role by promoting creativity, enhancing language development, and building emotional intelligence in young children.
I
Through
mean,
stories, children are introduced.
that's the basis of how we begin learning is like when our parents read to us. We don't understand what the words are, but when we start listening to the pronunciations and we follow along, they put the finger on the word, we start to develop that sort of like connection to those words. Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the generation in 2011? It's a good way to start, yeah. Because I mean, I always want to kind of understand every kind of growth because as a teacher, it's kind of what I do. I try to understand the processes. There he is. That's fine. All right. I mean, thanks for that. I appreciate the chat spam because that's probably gonna work with the it's gonna work with the algorithm pretty well. Like everyone drop a 5 in the chat, sort of thing. So potentially it could help, but still, you're kind of killing it, man. Um, But yeah, whatever. I don't know, man. I know from the teacher's perspective, how do you feel about the future being born in 2011, knowing what you know right now? How do you feel about the educational system? How do you feel about getting out of it? And what do you look into the future? How do you see your life in the future? That would be my question for the younger generations. But storytelling, we all learned that kind of concept from our parents. They read to us, we understood the process piece by piece, we read it up, and eventually we began to mimic, and kids learn through mimicry. Huh. Guess what? I have a mod in Twitch. Good luck spamming there, buddy. I need to put that mod back in YouTube too. You funny though. You trying to find ways to spam. Adorable. Yeah, some are completely spoiled, some are described to get GIF. I respect the bookworms. I respect the bookworms, but even though, like, okay, the whole GFBF thing. I know my sister. She was born 2008, right? She's about 20 years younger than me, and I remember when she was in this like, look at him get mad. She was in this sort of like mission as a young kid to go get a relationship going. Like it's cute when you see little kids like, oh, look, they like each other, they're hugging. But it was like more than that. It was like relax, like enjoy your childhood, understand yourself. Because honestly, like you got to understand yourself before you even start looking at other people and being like, are they for me? And, do they fit my type? You don't even know what your type is yet. Get to know people. That's the problem. We kind of disconnect from that social aspect of things. The only way we get to truly know people is like when we are in a relationship with them. And the good rule is you don't even know people or the person you're with until like 2 years after you're in a relationship. Like you have this honeymoon phase, you go into this process to 50-50. All right, fair enough. So like 1 out of 2 people is bearable. 1 out of 2 people is potentially okay to hang out with. I don't know. I mean, I guess when we grew up, we were big on celebrities and crap like this, and it's all about who was dating who and who was doing what. And oh my God, she's so cute. Look at the things she wore and all this kind of stuff that they were talking about back then. But every generation's got its stuff that it focuses on. But we kind of forget to be kids. Even like with my mom before she passed away, she was working as a single mom and she was taking care of us. And I would wake up early for school, but I'd make sure I make her coffee right before I left for school because she went after me to go to work. So even in that mindset, I kind of understood like the responsibility that she was taking on in order to keep us afloat. I kind of like being thrown into the sharks real quick when you're young, like realizing how reality hits you, right? When you see your mom struggle, you're like, holy crap, like what can I do to help? I'm just a kid. I'll make her coffee. Like it's the least I can do. So like some of us have grown in such a way that we grew up fast. So that's where that case comes from, right? We have a better understanding of others. We see the new perspective that it gives us. And then the other ones, they've been given everything. They get iPads all the time, or they get a new iPad, you get a new cell phone at 10 years old for whatever reason, they get a cell phone. If you give a cell phone to a kid, it's got to be on the basis of you getting in contact with them. So you can let them go and do their thing and play with friends, but you have a way to contact them. So you get them one of those little cricket phones with the little buttons on it because it's not a smartphone and they won't scroll TikTok all day. That's a fine way to give a cell phone. But the problem with that is kids are going to be like, oh, like this kid, constantly spamming, scrolling, going crazy. Oh, look at this person with a keypad touch phone or whatever. And then we get into that point like, Mom, everyone's got an iPhone and I don't. And then boom, what everyone does is now cool and everyone's getting brain rot. So that's cool. Oh, it's like poetry grinder over here, whatever that means. What are you doing grinding poetry, my dude? Anyway, it's it's a whole lot of stuff.
Introduced to new vocabulary, different perspectives, and important life lessons. Stories, even ones for children, often involve characters facing challenges, making choices, and experiencing different emotions. This offers children the opportunity to empathize with these fictional characters and share another's perspective. This helps nurture their emotional intelligence,
No one
enabling them
understands
to
what you're
navigate
saying,
their
my
own
dude.
feelings from a young age. So, this little girl who apparently doesn't watch plot based media is missing out on a very important child development tool, which is storytelling. So, these kids
Are you
essentially are going.
kidding? Fourth and fifth graders? No way. Oh, that's so weird. That's odd, man. I mean, like kids be going through hormones. I can understand that, but that's like end of middle school, maybe mid middle school. You maybe get those hormonal changes, and that's when I was basically in that case. And it's like, oh, look at the internet. Look what I can find on the internet. All that kind of stuff. But like fourth grade, fifth grade, Jesus Christ,
To grow up with very low or
Jesus
no
Christ.
emotional intelligence at all. They're not putting themselves in the shoes of fictional characters, following them throughout their story, throughout their life. They're not seeing how these characters' actions affect the people around them. They're not seeing these characters go through trials and tribulations. And they're not experiencing these emotions that these characters feel throughout different points in their life when something good or something bad happens to them. At surface level, programs and books for kids can just look like entertainment, but it's actually teaching them vitally important life skills. Stories
Rookie
also encourage problem
numbers.
solving. They frequently
No,
portray
don't say
characters
that.
facing
Don't say
challenges that
that.
requires them to overcome obstacles or solve problems. By engaging with these
What
stories,
up,
children
Mimu?
develop critical and creative
Mimivu,
thinking skills
Mimevu,
as they navigate how the characters may
Memevu. I
solve
don't
these
know. How do you say
problems.
it?
This process helps develop their own problem solving skills and how different decisions can affect the outcome of the plot. And we can only predict that this is going to get worse as generative AI is taking over with
Yeah.
ChatGPT and
I did not
Claude
Man,
realize
and all
how
the chatbots and encouraging kids to not think for themselves.
like the stats now is like 35 to 50% of content is created by AI. Let that sink in. Almost half the internet is created by AI slop. Thank God Sora fell apart because that would have kept pushing that number up. That would be some rookie numbers if Sora kept going. But even things we read, AI slop. Even Google, I mean, even YouTube, what they're trying to do with the creators is basically you put in a little search term in YouTube. You know what's going to happen in the future? You're not going to be given results of YouTubers providing content or lives like I am. You're going to get automatic generated pieces of snippets or shorts or whatever that search generated. So Google's going to basically like generate your content right in front of you. Yeah, I have a Discord. But you will have to go and support me through Patreon, even just as a free membership. Um, you can basically find me there. Hold on. Let me give you a little show through here, a little, what you call it? A home guide. This is my home. So if you go here, you join for free and you get my Discord link. That's it. It just shows your support for me. This helps me grow. And in the end, you get contact with me in Discord. Why brain rot? Kid, you're brain rot, my dude. You spamming up a storm and I don't understand what you're trying to say, but it's like that Finding Nemo scene where like you see that little turtle trying to say words and that other turtle would be like, or and then the dad be like, it's like he's trying to tell me something. And it'd be like, what are you trying to say, bro? Hey, anyway.
And just have the AI spit out the
That's what's gonna
answer
happen
for
on the
them.
internet. You're gonna
And
have some
surprise,
trollings.
surprise, student test scores are also dropping in almost all subjects across the board, and they are
Yeah.
absent from school more than they have been in years past.
A heads up for parents. Kids are falling farther behind on test scores, and more kids are failing to show up for school, according to figures out this morning.
Yeah,
A
man.
new report card is out for American students, and it's not good news. The National Assessment of Education Progress shows 4th and 8th grade students are faring.
I'll tell you who's living under a rock. The person that can't spell and make sentences. I'm an adult at work. You're probably here because the title says alpha and you're trying to be basically an alpha,
Faring even worse
a
in
gen
math and
alpha.
reading
I'm not
than in
talking
recent
about the wolf alpha. That, by the way, doesn't exist. That's a whole broken research theory.
Years.
It's a call to action as parents and families to hold our districts and our school systems accountable for making sure that we get our kids back on track.
Compared to 2019, average reading scores are down 5 points. And in math, fourth graders are down 3%. Eighth
Yeah.
graders sliding 8%.
I don't think this is.
Yeah, no wonder so many kids be coming in needing help. I can't tell if it's teachers nowadays, honestly. I do have a lot of students that come in and basically like tell me they have bad experiences, or when we pinpoint what the problem was, what a problem that they were having an issue with, let's say algebra 1 or 2. And I'm like, hey, when you had this class, how was your teacher like? I always try to survey my students, try and realize where the problems came from. And many times it is a case of like, you know, alpha wolf. It is a case of like the teacher not being very good, you know? Um, and it's a teacher case, but nowadays it seems like it's just an apathy. No one wants to really put the effort and work in, and that's causing a big problem in the case.
A season of us giving up hope. It's a season of us coming together in community, in our learning communities, to make sure that our students are making progress.
Experts say the results show reading is a greater challenge than math. The score declines appear to be driven by lower performing students falling farther behind, while
I used to play football in high school. I used to play football. I don't watch sports. I play them, my dude. Go touch some grass. Just go touch some grass real quick. I used to be tight end. I would be receiver, also essentially running back and forth. Oh my God, just go touch some grass. What do you mean? Play like Xbox football? Do you actually go outside and play football? Or you just watch things from the screen? Go play, go do something. Go exist in the world around you. Exist, man. Good stuff. It's like I get that stick, that meme with a stick. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This is what I'm thinking about you right now. This is what I'm thinking about you. This is what I'm thinking about you. You ready? This is hold on. I gotta make this good. You're in my chat right now? Right? You're in my chat right now? You be telling me to do stuff? Go watch football? And this is me to you. Go get some grass. Go touch some grass. Do something. This is probably you actually as a young kid. Always balding up so quick. You see yourself right there? Come on, do something. Go do it. Go touch grass. Go play football. Go exist in the world around you. This is you right there. Probably 10 years old and balding. You gotta play with the trollers. What you gonna do? People are gonna troll.
performing students are showing some recovery since the pandemic. The message to parents: get involved.
Trust your gut. Ask for more information. And if you need to seek outside help, do it immediately.
One big issue, students not showing up for class. 12%
Yeah, he
of
get
8th
mad.
graders missed
It's
at least
aight.
5 days of school per month.
He broke out the all caps. Let's keep watching him.
Across every measure we have, the more kids use tech at school, the more their learning goes down. Our children are the first generation in the last century to be cognitively worse than we are. And that's just a nice way of saying dumber than we are. On
Yeah, it
every
is.
single cognitive measure, they perform worse than we do. Attention, memory, memory span, creative thinking, divergent thinking, critical thinking, they're lower across the general IQ. Now, this is fine. If generations were always up and down, you'd say, cool, things come and go. But we have been on a steady increase for over 100 years.
Again, I blame the school systems. It's all like the whole no child left behind thing. Like that really like put every kid on this basis of like not trying, just barely making it through. And like the students the teachers, they get rated on their class. So if everyone in their class gets bad grades, then they're gonna probably blame the teacher. The accountability has been removed from the students, and even nowadays, kids be acting up in class. Thanks. Please speak his language because I cannot speak that language. Um, the accountability has been moved from the students and their parents disciplining them and giving them self-control and self-discipline in their home to the teacher being yelled at by the parents for not passing the kid or not like giving them any particular, I guess, chance, sort of chance to do stuff. So that's it. I don't know. It's just weird. The accountability is gone. I mean, the accountability has been gone in politics a long time ago. Anytime you put a bunch of middlemen in the middle, you don't know who's accountable for what, everyone pointing fingers, but at school, it's even worse.
Every generation outperforms their parents, and that's what we want. Every generation wants their kids to be healthier, happier, smarter than they are.
Yeah.
We are the first generation in history where that trend is now reversed.
Someone commented, having
There's
worked in a
actually a
technology-free
conversation
residential
happening right now
alternative
with you
education
guys.
program
That's
for nearly
insane.
10 years, I 100% agree and will forever advocate for removing cell phones and
Please teach me what the hell is going on. Like, keep going. I can decrypt your conversation as you keep doing the thing that you're doing. I'm gonna keep watching.
personal computers and tablets from schools. There was an astronomical difference in social skills, emotional regulation, and test scores after being without tech for 6 months. Let's not get started on how the adjustment period went for these students. The first month of no technology was like watching an addict detox. It's ruined Gen Z and is presently destroying Gen Alpha. And something else that I found interesting but not surprising is the fact that people who work at Google, Meta, and these big tech giants are choosing to send their kids to Waldorf schools, which are schools that have pretty much tech-free environments.
In
Ooh,
most
those are
public
good.
and private schools across the nation, Chromebooks, iPads, or Windows devices are everywhere.
Social dilemma? Sounds familiar, but maybe I haven't. Seen a lot of dilemma-based subjects. Dilemma or dilemma? Yeah, it's Dilemma. Got it. Interesting. Kind of looking like a Black Mirror episode. Yeah, I'd say the same thing about the Lord not giving out a child like this. 2020 American docudrama film directed by Jeff Orlowski and written by Orlowski Davis. Peak documentary? Is it like a research observation, a sort of like film observation of the current social structure or the way things are? This documentary drama hybrid explores dangerous human impact of social networking. Oh, there it is. Yep. I can tell you what's wrong with social networking. It's the networking part. Right there. It's the networking part. Disconnect from cables and go touch grass and go talk to people. Otherwise, you end up like Poetry Grinder. Just saying. It's true though, ain't it?
But things look very different at the private Sacramento Waldorf School in California, where technology isn't used at all through 8th grade and is scarce even in high school.
Instead of just turning to my phone to answer a question, to ask a teacher for help or to ask a friend.
I just never really knew what it was like to play video games as opposed to running around and having fun outside.
We don't have that many screens here, but I can still use the screen really well. You don't have to be on the screen all the time to know how to use it well.
Here. So I would whip stitch this on. I find that even in my own experience in my own life, that when I'm using a device, it divides me from those who are around me. So I find that the community experience of being in a classroom without those devices, that comes only from one-on-one human interaction. And the screen tends to divide that.
Good morning.
Morning, Nico.
Celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, the Waldorf teaching philosophy is used at more than 1,000 institutions in 91 countries, including 136 schools here in the U.S. The screen policy differs at each Waldorf school, but it's
No,
known
you did
for
not
its
tongue
holistic
Sahur me right now. Get out of here. No, it shows how evil big tech are. I mean, yeah. You want to talk about how evil big tech are? They're basically degrading the brains of people because they want them to depend on the technology. And that can make a quick buck from a dependency factor. Oh, we can talk about that too, but we don't have enough time. I want to finish this vid.
Style, which promotes artistic expression, experiential learning, and yes, limited technology use. For students at the Sacramento Waldorf School, screen
That's
time is
great.
highly discouraged.
Yo, my grandma got chickens. When you get close to like life and the way it is actually growing your food, taking care of chickens, feeding those chickens, getting the eggs that they freaking hatch, you just kind of have this mind blown case of like, what are we actually fucking doing in these cities? I think the best thing that people can do when they grow up and get out of the rat race, don't live in a city. Get some money, save as much as you can. Don't fall into the material lifestyle and expend all your money, Save it. Find a starting point outside the city. I bet you it's going to be like 25% more for 25% the costs. Like it'll be extremely cheaper. Like I know my friend actually knowing when I was paying rent for like $2,200 for a 4-bedroom house with me and my friends splitting it. He ended up moving to like Alabama and he bought a 2-story house with like 5 bed or 4 or 5 bedrooms or some shit. And it cost him like $1,000 a month for the mortgage. Like, imagine that difference there. Am I a teacher? Yeah, I actually have to teach in like 30 minutes. I got some students on the list that I got to go through. I got some homework help and all kinds of things I got to work on with them. Uh, okay, here's a little intro on me again, this is me. Hello. This is me. I have a Patreon. I work at ChrisMIA Learning. You can, if you need any help, if you know people that need help, we help autistic kids, we help dyslexia, we help all kinds of kids. I'm one of the plenty tutors that are here. I work for ChrisMIA in this case scenario, but I also have my own location on Patreon, right? So you can find me as a private instructor if you just want to go directly to me, or if you're more comfortable going to a company, you can go from there. So you can also judge the pricing on that basis too. Here we kind of basically do K-12 education. So this is where I help basically middle schoolers and high schoolers. Do you know about the exams like G and GECO? GECO? I know SAT, ACT. What a G exam? Joint entrance examinations. I see. Primary nationwide level engineering entrance consisting of 2 strategies, G main, G advanced. Architecture program. Indian Institute of Information. Interesting. I'm not familiar with. I was in computer science, so I can basically assist on the mathematical scale. Not the hardware scale, but I can definitely help on the software scale. So it really depends on which direction for the assistance. I've taught at Valencia College and UCF for basically probably like 7, 8 years total. But it was mostly on the base of mathematics in both of those college and university settings. Outside of that, I basically do remote teaching, and that's when I actually do like computer programming, um, PHP. You can actually find also like on a big, more simplified version of what I do on my Chris MIA homepage here. Sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. I don't get it. Oh wait, I didn't put the A. I'm a derp. I'm a retard. See, I'm gonna call myself a retard too. But I'm gonna call Poetry Grinder a retard too, so it's 50-50. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? You think you're gonna get on my nerves? Boy, I got patience. I know kids like you. I got patience. Go grind out some poetry. Oh, come on. I was literally here like a moment ago. What's up with this? Sometimes my server connection or some sort of gateway problem with the DNS. I don't get it. Okay, now it works. I don't understand why that made a difference. So here basically is a summary. I help school education pathways. Essentially, you're looking at like high school, middle school, college, preparatory, bachelor's, and associates. But in the case of what I do normally, what's my favorite language? I'm gonna have to say depends on the situation. I like the Pythons. I like the Pythons a lot. I use a lot. I make a lot of tools, especially a lot of the stuff you see around you right now, like the background, all this stuff. But I'm kind of really between cases. Um, I have like the Python is making my little character move right now. Um, you've got kind of a case where you're working. You baited nothing, my dude. That's just this passive spin, just passively talking to you. The Python script that you see me moving. Um, There's a lot of interesting things you can do with Python because it's acceptable on a lot of platforms like OBS. You can create scripts. I got me some voice mods I can work with as well. They're kind of in process. They're not perfectly good, but let me see. Where my mic at? Mic USB? Let's see. Web voice effect. Hello, hello. This is your captain speaking. We're about to land. Look, I learned C++. I never found a use for it. Never found a use for it. I just recently created a POS for a small company that basically handles their sales, point of sale, like a little terminal kiosk at the front. It was PHP and MySQL, JavaScript, and HTML. I made that thing usable in many cases. Doladas, welcome in. Glad to have you in. Like as far as a base use scenario, I've never used C++ or Java because that's what I learned in computer science in college and university. Never used those in a productive manner. I made stuff with it, but if you ask me to make you an application for your business, I'll probably do it in PHP because you can do networking easily. Encryption. It's more useful. PHP, create a server, manage a server with PHP, and then deliver the websites directly with HTML and JavaScript. And have your PHP server be the guiding force. And then organize your database. If I ever decided to upgrade and I guess upgrade or downgrade, I don't know, but if I ever decided to basically create like a local application, I could use C++ with some networking and a connection to SQL database and still achieve the same thing. Hey, well, welcome in. We're basically you're in a bit late, but hey, we've been looking at essentially how Gen Alpha has been growing. And we got distracted here because we got a Gen Alpha in chat. You can see him, he's poetry grinder. Oh, dude, Epstein needs to get the hell. Like, he needs to freaking burn. I mean, he's dead, but I don't think he's dead. Also, we need those files. We need to figure out what the hell's going on because I think it's a much bigger picture. I bet you it's connected to all the politicians, and we need to figure out who's in connection with that dude. But anyway, that's not a subject I'd like to get into. It's not a subject because it's fucking disgusting. So we're basically going through how the Gen Alphas are growing in the educational environment. And it's been like a very interesting progressive move between, students basically, that guy, he had an aura. He did something. He did something. He definitely had something because he had the connections, man. Ah, see, that's the subjects I don't want to go into. Every politician, I think, needs to be in prison. I think every one of them are just baiting us with corporate. Ever since Citizens United, here's where it is. If you don't know, look up Citizens United. This is a thing that all politicians do. They make something that sounds so nice. Yes, we want the citizens to be united. But that basically gave, well, corporations the ability to vote. And ever since then, shit's been falling apart. Politicians be making more money. And they don't want to leave their job, even though they're getting old and senile. If everyone in the White House passes right now, there's like this one dude in the Senate that's like 90 years old that's going to take over. This guy needs to go home and rest and exist and retire. Like, what are you still doing in politics? And these same old people that have no idea how technology works are making the corporation oversight and how we're going to basically, you know, handle AI to brain rot this kid over here. OP. which is the same person as Poetry Grinder. What are you doing in 2 locations at once is my question. How are you so dedicated to be a troll that you literally are logged in from 2 accounts on 2 browsers at Twitch and on YouTube just to say the same thing twice? What is going through your mind? Please explain. What even are you doing, my man? Oh, sorry, my boy. I don't think you deserve the man title. You need another 6 years of puberty in your life. But no, yeah, politicians are fucked. They don't care. They're not there to care. We're kind of going towards the Hunger Games scenario. We're going towards the Black Mirror, Hunger Games, and then eventually Skynet into the Matrix. All the retards are basically going to be used for energy, just like this guy, Poetry Grinder. You know what's in your future, my man? You're going to be running on a treadmill, fueling the power to the AI because you can't think, so you got to be used somehow in society. So you're going to end up running on a treadmill all your life. That's going to be your work, just running on a treadmill, like a hamster, powering the AI that's running society. And the other people that actually cared about education and proper spelling and proper communication. And we're going to end up in a society of a Black Mirror type, as if we're not already technically with these influencers and shit like this. But everyone that basically can't pass basic high school, they're going to end up just fueling the AI to basically run society. And eventually we're going to revolt, because we're kind of revolting now. You hear a lot about like people burning Molotov cocktails and AI centers and stuff like this, right? So we have a sense of a revolt now, but we're going to have a big kind of security lockdown. They're going to excuse all the violence and all the protests as a sort of precaution to increase security on the streets. Then we go into a lockdown. And eventually AI puts itself up. Hey, look, we got a Chinese guy. So, and then we're going to end up like China. If that, we're going to end up under mass surveillance like China. Kind of going in that direction now with the whole like surveillance aspect of things. And after that, we're going to revolt. We're going to get locked down. We're going to end up having 2 types of people that generate power for the AI, the machine. And then we're going to have the others that cannot even have physical ability to do so. They're going to be the cleaner uppers. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Like and subscribe. I got to go teach some students mathematics. You came at the long end of the road, my man. Appreciate you coming in, though. It's not about lectures. It's about reality, guys. You know? Clip it. We'll see you in a couple of years what happens. But I'm done. Peace out. Deuces. Enjoy yourselves. Go find something to do. OP. Shout out. Shout it out. Poetry. OP. Respect, bro, for still staying in there. Respect for being the troll of your life, enjoying yourself. But I got you, man. If you keep spamming, you know what's gonna happen. Appreciate the views, guys. Appreciate you jumping in. Like, subscribe, click the bell. Come bother me next time when I get on. You can